Welcome to DAX Machina. Join us as we explore the mysteries of this world. Cryptids, monsters, macabre tales, and horror stories abound. Could they be true? Are monsters real?
Good evening, folks, and thank you for joining us on another edition of DAX Machina. In the house tonight is Robbie Raines, the scalp hunter from South Carolina himself. My son Noah, who's Jorgamunder over at Twitch TV /Jorgamunder, and the pint-sized pocket doc himself, Kerry Pocket Doc Davis, is in the house. We didn't even get a sighting of him in profile. He is just actual full on.
We didn't even have to worry about the Patterson footage of him, you know.
That's right.
Where we caught him, sneaking off into a like a 2-foot tall shrub or something like that,
Slipping into somebody's bib overalls.
Exactly, like a Joey, like a little hairy Joey.
It's like bouncing into it. He just hops right in. He's like, hello.
Look, he fits right here in this pocket.
I'm just picturing some guy had like a button-up shirt with Doc just kind of hanging out of the pocket. He's like, hey, buddy.
I could just see Doc in like a little backpack on somebody's back going, who runs Bartertown?
Blaster.
Oh,
how's
man.
everybody doing tonight? You guys doing good?
Doing good.
Oh, yeah.
Hanging in there.
We
With
already got a pretty full house.
My
Chat room's
questionable
filling up.
Mountain Dew.
Yeah. Tonight, Noah has christened a brand new drink. Well, it's a new take on an old drink. Found some blueberry simple syrup and made old fashions with it. Oh, so good.
They have the color of like month-old Mountain Dew that you forgot and left on the counter, but I don't even like bourbon. That's good.
That's licking your mustache good.
Oh, man.
Meg likes your hat, Robbie.
I was just answering her. But thanks, Meg.
Says there's a bit of an odd echo going
on. Not from
Not
my
me.
end.
I got headphones in.
I don't think it's from my end. I mean, there's good distance here, you know.
Testing one.
Oh,
heard it there. I'm gonna mute my mic.
I'll mute mine too.
You?
Test one.
Yes.
I don't hear it now. I think we got it. Woohoo!
Yeah, we may have sniped that one before it got too late.
So, boys, tonight we are going to be talking about something right up there in Robbie's alley up in South Crackalacky, as Doc's fond of saying, the Lizardman of Scape or Swamp. Now, this one's kind of an interesting one because, well, it was a whole rash of sightings and then nothing for a long time, and now we're getting like, people are still saying they hear things. Like, hey, Anthony's here. Hey, brother. The pit bull is in the house.
There he is.
What's up, Doc? Noah?
What's up, brother man?
How's it going?
What's up?
Oh, nothing much. Live and kicking.
Well, that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, well, I could ask for a few extra things, but I don't think anybody's going to entertain them, you know?
Too close to Christmas to be asking for stuff.
True.
Robbie's, well, Rip. How you doing, Rip?
I'm doing good. How you?
There you go. Oh.
Shut up, Doc.
Pocket's dying.
Something's tickled him, Blue.
Doc's having an earthquake.
We broke Doc and we're only
a few minutes in, yeah.
That's right.
With freaking Rip.
Nona Boss is here. Derek Buckles is here. Hi, Marty. Hi, Derek. Little Patty's in the house. Hey, Little Patty. Hope you get to feeling better. Tombstone's here. Richie Evans. Hey, Richie. Monster Radio. What's up, brother? Holy crap. Toshi the Wolf's here.
We've got
David By. There's Josh Dalton.
Tomb's here.
Werewolf's
It's
here.
the dream team, she says.
Just here and there. 66 is here.
don't know about dream. More
North
like a
Woods is
nightmare,
here.
maybe. But
Yeah.
Waiting for the opportunity to insult his ex. He's lurking in the shadows, waiting with a quick X comment.
He is. He's gonna pounce on everyone when he does it. Watch.
now, he was quick last show.
Yeah, he was. He got
Yeah,
it
he
pretty
was.
fast.
A minute and a half
Lene
in.
Perkins is here. Costa
AJ.
Pollux.
He came out of the gate swinging.
AJ's here. Wow, we got a full house. Coral Ames here. Pat Murphy. Hi, Pat. Wow. That
Miss Lene. Hi, Miss Lene. How you doing? He's in.
Blondes and Booze is here. Howdy. Nightbot reared his ugly head. Nightbot, you behaved
he's
tonight.
back.
Well, anyway, we were just starting to talk about the topic of the show tonight when the pit bull arrived, so we had to stop and welcome our wayward son. Carry on, my wayward son. Did Anthony freeze? Either that or he's
Nope,
nope,
there you go.
suddenly popped back in.
Please. They could put a man on the moon, but they can't figure out this internet shit. Break. Aggravates me.
There's Fred.
Well, I know Robbie over at his show Watch Really Out There. They already did a show on the Skateboard Swamp. If you guys haven't checked it out, I think you guys definitely should. It's an awesome show. But he's kind of our resident authority on it because he lives pretty close to it. It's an interesting story. It's really kind of crazy how that all happened. But it ties into a lot of other stuff. First and foremost, there was a Native American legend from the area, from the Creek Indians, where they talked about a group of braves who went out hunting. And while they were camped out, one of them came back to camp and said, I think I found a bear tree. And if any of you guys are familiar with that, bears will sometimes sleep in hollow logs. So
Yes.
The next morning, they all go to this bear tree and they start a fire down at the base of it to try to drive the bear out. Well, this lizard creature, a bipedal lizard creature, comes climbing out, and they scattered and ran. Well, one by one, it chased them down and carried them back and dumped them in the log. The last guy it caught as it was carrying him back, it ran into what they referred to as a puma or a mountain lion, and the lizard creature and the mountain lion got into it. And he dropped the last brave, and he was able to run away and get away. But he went back to his tribe and told the story of this lizard creature that killed the other braves. So that was the oldest reference to that in that area we could find. But there seems to be a lot of weird stuff going on in and around that swamp. Robbie, have you ever been down in that area?
Yeah. Actually, my dad and he had a hunting property not too far from there, so probably maybe about 50 miles as the crow flies from that swamp where I've hunted. Now I've been through it because usually going to Myrtle Beach, I'll drive right through Bishopville, Lee County, that whole area. So it's down around. If you know anything about South Carolina, which some of you may, some of you don't, Columbia is our state capital, and it's pretty much dead center of the state. Lee County is below that line, so it's the PD area, the lowlands. So we go through there usually when we're going to Myrtle Beach. A lot of swamps down in that area. That's the area Francis Marion, the swamp fox. That's where he got his name from. Was fighting the colonial wars in that area. Pretty much one of the first special forces soldiers in the United States. So it's some pretty hairy area down through there. Something like that could very easily escape detection in that area.
Well, I can see how it would. I mean, any swamp area is generally largely untraversable by most people, unless you got what the Cajuns refer to as a P-row, one of those little shallow draft boats that can get into some narrow places. But those swamps are largely difficult to get into because of like thick mud and the bayou and cypress around there. So I can see how something could go unnoticed.
And I mean, following up with that, I mean, like, you also got to keep in mind, like, there's an abundance of alligators through there. So I'm like a lizard-like creature. Like, I mean, it would play to that strength. You know, it would be like, oh, I look at least somewhat like these things, and they're not trying to eat me. So I'll just hide out near them. You know.
Yeah.
Gastropollux 15 says, first time I heard of the lizard man, it was reported by a state wildlife officer who observed it through binoculars. It made the state paper. Well, that's really cool.
And what year was that, Castropolis? 15?
Yeah, that would be awesome to know. If you've got a link to the article, if you can find it, shoot that over to us. We'd love to check that out.
I've got several up. Let me run through which ones I have.
The first modern reported sighting of the lizard man was made by a guy named George Holloman Jr. back in late 1987. But it was later the next spring when a kid named Christopher Davis, a 17-year-old kid, that really brought focus to the lizard man. He allegedly encountered the creature while he was coming home from work about 2 a.m. on the 29th of June, 1988. That was right about the time I graduated high school. God dang, I feel old. But according to him, he stopped on the road to change a tire because he had a blowout. And he heard something coming up behind him. Said he could hear it running across the field. And he looked back, and 25 to 30 yards away was this lizard-like creature with glowing red eyes bearing down on him. Well, I guess he had just finished putting the lug nuts on, so he dives in the car, locks the car door real quick, and it ran up and tried to open the door. It physically tried to open the door. He said he could only see it from about the neck down as it was messing with his car door. Well, he goes to throw this thing and drive and get out of there, and as he's looking in the mirror, he can see its feet, and it has 3 toes on its feet. And it jumps up on the roof of the car, and he could see its hands hanging onto the roof of the car just by the fingers on the windshield. So he's weaving all over the place trying to get this thing off there, and finally shakes it loose and races into town. Got scratches all over his car. One of the mirrors was busted. So him and his dad go see the local sheriff, and they take the report. But of course, law enforcement's not going to believe a 17-year-old kid about some monster that attacked him out in the woods in the middle of the night. So I don't think they really took it too terribly seriously. But it was only after several more reports over the following days came in that law enforcement sent deputies out there to check the area, and they took plaster casts of like 13 or 14-inch 3-toed tracks. Now, funny that Robbie had mentioned to me earlier that his buddy goes down there and goes gator hunting in that area. That would be a damned big gator track. Not unheard of, but that would be a damn big gator track. And gators can gallop. I mean, they'll full on gallop like a horse over distance. But the difference is this kid said it was on 2 feet. That'd be a hell of a trick for a gator.
Well, Lance and I were talking when we did the show. We were talking about it, and not far from there, they were in a creek that was 2 feet deep, 8 feet wide, and they pulled a 10.5-foot, 500-pound alligator out of 2 feet of water.
Holy shit snacks.
So a gator that size is going to make a print that big. But Lance's theory on this was, there's a lot of nuclear test sites down there. His theory was this could be some type of mutated alligator species.
Well, that's not entirely out of the realm of questionability there.
And Lance said, the way, if you look at the kid's description, it had a long tail, 3-toed tracks. He never really, if I can remember, said anything much about the face, but the eye shine was the same as an alligator. Had a long tail. Really, the only difference is, like you said, it was running on 2 feet. But if this thing is like Noah was pointing out, if it is akin to an alligator, it's probably going to hide the same way most crocodilian species do in the water, and you would be able to see it. I mean, Lance said that this 10.5-foot gator that they harvested down there, they never saw it until they were actually looking. I mean, 2 feet of water, and you can't see a 10.5-foot, 500-pound alligator.
Yeah. David Bye says, don't gators have 4 toes? I don't know.
I don't know anything about gators. Dog, we live in Missouri, and we don't get gators. I mean, we do, but not frequently.
It's
mostly because some jackass released one in the park.
There was one. They Missouri Department of Conservation pulled one out of Lake Taneycomo, Noah, last year.
Yeah, and
Some jackass had released it.
Yeah, I was about to say, and some jackass had released it. Some jackass released one at Sequioto Park at one point.
They found it frozen in the ice with its nose sticking out.
Man, screw that.
They'll survive as long as they keep their nostrils above the water where they don't freeze. They can survive in a frozen lake.
Yeah.
So, because there's a lake up here called Laurel and Hardy Lake, up in the upstate, and DNR pulled a 8.5-foot gator out of there a couple of years ago.
Jessica Cryptid Hunter says, I remote viewed the Lizardman of Scape or Swamp, and I picked up that it was reptilian. That kind of goes in with where we're kind of heading on this, or at least where I'm heading. So this had 3 toes, and they're saying gators have 4, and some are saying 5 toes. So that rules out gator unless it's mutated, like you're saying.
I mean, it rules out like
a big gator can conceal itself in a very little amount of water. We've all seen those nature documentaries where crocodiles are pulling gnus and antelope into water, and you can see it like just barely beneath the surface, and the gazelles aren't seeing it. Then bam, and it's dragging one in. One of my favorites is when watching a big Nile croc pull in a warthog, and it had a hell of a fight on its hand, but it still dragged it under the water, and that warthog wasn't seen again. But these are ambush predators.
Before you get too deep in that, DA, though, just to throw a little wrinkle in that, the boy you just talked about, Harris, I think is his last name. Mm-hmm. Did you know what happened, or have you heard the story of him?
Not all of it. I want to answer a question real quick. Billy Dink says, do you have pictures of the tracks? I did find pictures, but they were from a distance. You couldn't see any details on the tracks. Just these 2 jackasses smiling and holding these plaster casts. So you really couldn't see any details. So, if you can find pictures of the actual plaster casts, my hat's off to you, because I couldn't find them. Northwood says, reptilian might just be related to my ex's family.
There it is.
And there it is.
He's on a roll. That's number 3 for him tonight, man.
Yeah, he's been throwing them out.
Yeah. It sounds like
5 rings in the house.
Sounds like a real aggro slee stack to me, but
yeah. Now, Robbie, what were you saying?
So the boy that you were talking about, 2009, he was killed mysteriously in his house.
Really?
Did you know that?
I did not.
Well, what was it, like a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the back?
There's a book, I can't remember.
They never found a handgun that shot him in the back, but it was self-inflicted.
Something like that, probably. I don't remember who Lance said wrote the book, but there was a guy. Anyway, I had to go back and listen to the episode again to get that guy's name, because I kind of washed over that when I was listening to it on the way home. But there's several people who have talked about seeing this lizard man who have all died mysteriously of unnatural causes.
Well,
including that boy.
I'm gonna get the tinfoil out and line the bottom of the hat here in a minute, because I think I've got a thought on that. I'll jump back into this just a little bit, and we'll kind of build up to that. It took the deputies 2 weeks to get out there to measure, to look for clues, to look into this. It was 2 weeks after this kid's sighting, and they casted these tracks at 14 inches long. But they decided against sending them to the FBI for further analysis after a biologist advised them that they were unclassifiable. So they never sent it up the chain. According to South Carolina Marine Resources Department spokesman Johnny Evans, the tracks neither matched nor could be mistaken for the footprints of any recorded animal. Evans also dismissed the possibility they could have been made by some form of mutated creature. Now, the sightings in this area attracted a lot of people coming in the area, and even a local radio station, WCOS, offered a $1 million reward to anybody who could capture the creature alive. But it wasn't long after that, like in July, that the reports of the creature started to decline. And here is where we start down the rabbit hole. On August 5th, a kid named Kenneth Orr, he was an airman stationed at Shaw Air Force Base, which isn't too far away, filed a report with the police saying that he had encountered the Lizardman on Highway 15, and he had shot and wounded it. He presented several scales and a small quantity of blood as evidence. Later, he would recant his story after he was arraigned for unlawfully carrying a pistol and in the misdemeanor offense of filing a false police report. What that sounds like to me is this kid came forward with evidence and the Air Force told him to shut up.
Yep, they told him to shut up and color. Guarantee.
And I mean, I guarantee you, they didn't charge him with anything because they're like, hey, if you say that
This
you
needs
made
to
this
go
up,
away.
if you say you made this up, we'll drop the charges. I guarantee you that's what happened.
Well,
Because
I would say when he filed the report with the police, his chain of command found out and said, no, drop this right now.
right. And if they had pressed any sort of charges against him for it and actually had him like processed for it and everything, he would have told that story to everyone who would listen. But the moment he says, no, I made the whole thing up, I lied, he's no longer credible. No one's
Right.
ever going to believe
He
his
can
story.
never go back and say, no, I didn't make it up. You know,
Right.
Oh,
So it's like, you
Derek
know,
Buckle says, I found an article stating Davis was killed by two people appearing to be drug related in 2008. That's generally what they say when they don't know really what happened.
yeah,
And there's-
man.
There's
MK
several
Ultra
others.
was
interesting.
MK Ultra was all drug related deaths.
Now here's where we're going to take the first big leap into the rabbit hole. And I hope you boys will enjoy the ride, because here's where we're at that point on the roller coaster where it's just starting to tick over the top of the hill.
Tinfoil needs to be prepared.
Put your tinfoil hat securely in place.
I know exactly where he's going because we discussed in the car earlier.
Let me buckle up.
The U.S. Air Force was also investigating all known UFO sighting reports. The Lizardman of Scape or Swamp could very well been a reptilian alien. And that's why the Air Force got involved.
It is possible.
Thank you, French
People have
Robbie.
been seeing reptilian aliens all over the world for decades. Yet this one kid who has blood and a scale, who happens to be in the Air Force, gets basically suppressed. And whatever happened to the blood and the scale? Was
I
it
was
ever-
interested in that.
Thrown in
Never
the
heard anything
incinerator.
about it being taken into cut or into evidence at all.
Or well, maybe it was taken into evidence, just evidence
turned
we would
over to
never
the Air
see.
Force.
Yeah, but it was never mentioned that it was taken into
Mhm.
evidence
Right.
or tested or anything. It
Yeah,
just said
that evidence
said
was
he had it.
disappeared.
Wow, it's
Now,
gone.
Robbie?
It's gone like a fart in the wind, brother.
Robbie, and if Anthony's still listening, I know he
Doc,
was
you
tied up
clearly
doing
haven't
something.
spelled any of mine.
Doc was in the Air Force. Yeah, you guys chime in on this. Robbie, you're still an active cop, and you know, I want to get your opinion before I voice mine. If you had a guy showed up with blood and physical evidence, is the first thing you're going to think of to charge him for the handgun?
no.
I would have said, "Good job defending yourself."
Yeah. I mean, I worked a case where a kid saw somebody breaking into his dad's truck, went downstairs, chased the guy across the street to his grandparents' yard. The guy was still running. The kid fired a shot into the ground, stopped the guy. We ended up catching the guy because he didn't run much more after that. So he was inside the city limits. He discharged a firearm. You think I charged him for that?
Hell no. Monster Radio says, interestingly enough, one encounter with the lizard man somehow yielded canine DNA results, but they said the canine DNA could be from coyotes that were killed.
Huh.
Yeah, that smells like cover up.
Well,
Johnny
see,
Happ says, Leo, law enforcement officer, Johnny. Sorry.
and see, Robbie and DA, y'all both know this as law enforcement officers, and I work with enough of those guys. There's a certain thing called officer discretion,
Right.
you know, and
Yep.
and this kid who went in there, active duty Air Force, when they probably got his information, he probably if he's not from South Carolina, this is the way it was when I was in. I could carry my Mississippi driver's license, even though it was expired, as long as I had a driver's license. If I was active duty, I didn't have to renew it in the state that I was in.
Mhm.
Now, they probably saw, oh, well, hell, he's from wherever. It's expired. Oh, well, I'm in the military too. Here's my military ID. Well, what unit are you in? And so the ball started rolling.
Well,
And
you know, anytime as in the military, and Doc can tell you this as much as I can, if you got involved with local law enforcement in any capacity whatsoever.
Yep.
Speeding ticket, you were questioned as a witness. Anytime, no matter what the contact was, whether it was good or bad, you had to contact your chain of command and say,
100%.
I was involved with a law enforcement contact. This is what happened. They needed to know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
especially if he had any kind of clearance.
It went to his command staff. It went to his first sergeant first and foremost, and then so forth and so on. But the thing is, my big deal is this. My big question is this: why would they want to suppress it unless there might be some prior knowledge of something like this, maybe something going on? Not too far off there.
Well,
Right,
one
and
of the
like-
theories. Go ahead, Noah.
I was just gonna say there was no like follow up reports of there being unmarked vehicles in the area. There was no reports of investigation teams being sent out, which means this is something that they're aware of. This is something that they already know about.
I would say
Right.
the Air Force had been aware of it at some time, and were probably concerned because he had blood evidence,
Mhm.
physical
Right.
evidence.
And that's the reason they told him to shut up and color.
Right.
And funny how he ended up dying in something a few years later, drug related. So
Well, that was
What?
a different guy.
Yeah,
That
that
was
was
the
different
kid
guy,
that
okay.
first saw
the
it.
kid,
Okay.
the kid that died of the drug related or the unnatural causes is how it was put across. That was the kid that was driving and changing the car tire. But there's been
Okay.
others. There's been others, and like I said, there was Lance had quoted the book that I want to say it was Lyle Burns. Maybe was the guy's name. It was Lyle something.
Lyle Blackburn?
That was it. He wrote a book about it, and there's several people that had witnessed this lizard man, and mysteriously, quite a few of them have died of unnatural causes.
I wonder, and see, that's not far fetched either. Does anybody happen to know this airman's name?
Yes.
That was Orr was his last name.
Yeah, Kenneth Orr, ORR. He was stationed
And-
at Shaw Air Force Base in 1988.
And I guarantee you, if you looked up anything on him, if you did a FOIA request on him, a Freedom of Information Act request on him, and tried to talk to him, he probably would deny everything because of everything happened. And I guarantee you there were some NDAs and whatnot that he was
guaranteed.
signed.
The tagline on this, it says the lizard man was described as having green scaly skin with either red or orange eyes, 3-fingered webbed hands, and it stood about 7 feet tall, and it had a stride of around 40 inches.
Jesus,
Good. God almighty.
that dude listening to freaking Matthew Wilder in his head over there the whole time. Ain't nothing gonna break my stride.
Man.
40 inches is a pretty good stride.
Yeah,
I mean, it's attainable by human, but you got to be cooking.
I mean, my
Yeah.
stride at best is like 20 inches. So, I mean, there you go.
I just
Well,
like to
you're only
imagine the
23
sound.
inches tall.
I just like to imagine the sound effect it makes while that thing's running, because there's like moist scales hitting the floor. It's just plat 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 plat.
Like running in flippers.
When I run,
More
it's
or
like
less.
the cartoon sound. So,
Oh, Doc, you kill
that's
me,
very
bro.
interesting. I wish we
Like a
could find
Hanna-Barbera cartoon.
that. I wish we
Billy
could
Dink
find
says, I've never trusted lizard men right from the get-go.
did you see Lene's comment earlier?
No, I
Yeah.
didn't. What was it?
What
What
do
you call a reptile that sings?
Oh, yeah, I did see that. That was
A
pretty damn funny.
reptile?
a reptile?
Yeah.
Eli Harrison says the lizard man sounds like a giant insurance mascot. Steve Payton says, Doc, yeah, but the short legs look fast when moving.
That's
John
true.
Doe
It's
said
a
if your
blur.
lizard scales are moist, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you also got to keep in mind that this thing's coming out of the swamps. So, I mean, like, he's probably not exactly dry.
And, yeah, and 7 feet tall. I mean, that's enough to make you change your underwear, you know?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a big reptile, too. And we know that even alligators that can, be up to 10, 12 feet long can still gallop like a horse.
oh, yeah.
And by gallop, I don't mean like run quickly. I mean front legs out, 2 sets of legs off the ground at any given
I mean,
time.
we're talking crocodiles that have been seen in excess of 19 feet long that can gallop. Like,
That's terrifying.
So it's not out of the realm of possibility that a bipedal lizard man could get that tall. I had a discussion earlier with somebody. A guy was texting me, and
Segues
we
are
were
weird.
discussing about the heart capacity for pumping blood for both Dogman and Bigfoot once they got above like 7 or 8 feet tall. But then we get to look at like the giraffe and how far that part has to pump blood. So, oh, Megan says, check the monster sent you. Did he send them by email or? Oh, okay. I got him.
Yeah, that's
Let me get these saved and I'll get
that's
them.
a lot of cardiac output. I mean, look, I mean, you're talking about giraffes, an elephant, an elephant. Their ejection fraction, they pump like normal for us 50 to 60 cc's. Every time our heart squeezes, right? It's like 60 cc's or so.
Mm-hmm.
They pump 5 gallons. It's like a freaking Homer bucket full of blood every time their heart beats. Yeah.
Richie says, question DA. Sorry, I just bumped. Any other states these demons live, like Florida lizard man? I Googled lizard man around the world, and the only thing that would come up in Google is the Lizardman of Scape or Swamp. But there are reptilian sightings all over the U.S. and around the world. I mean, these reptilian aliens, there have been one seen out in the New Mexico and Arizona desert that they referred to as being reptilian aliens. But what if they're not extraterrestrial?
Right.
What if they're subterranean?
I've heard that theory too.
Like I said, they're like a sleeve stack.
Right.
So question, if they're reptilian, cold-blooded, warm-blooded, when are most of the sightings occurring? Are they occurring during warmer months or colder months?
Ryan sent me a picture. You guys might want to check this out. Supposedly this is, let me kill the banner there. This is one of the original casts taken in 1988. That is a odd looking track.
Very.
That's wire looking.
Very strange.
It is very strange.
Look
it
on the
certainly
far.
Doesn't look like any other track I've ever seen.
Look on the far right toe, as it were. What's that? What's it arcing down off of that? Is that the print off of a nail, or is that just it's like a break in the ground?
Yeah, it could be something foreign in the track.
Yeah,
I can't say for any degree of certainty what that is.
that looks different than any of the casts that I've seen pictures of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does.
Well, let me pull up an image, and I'll show you guys. Let me find it.
To answer the question about when these events are happening, it looks like they're spread out over the year. Like it doesn't really have a timestamp on it.
There's not like a big spike in the summer, warmer months, anything like that.
Yeah. So Davis, the guy who was the 17-year-old who was driving home at 2 a.m. Right. That was June 29th, 1988. Previous sighting would have been in the fall of 1987. And I saw another one that was November, I think it was.
Okay, guys, I found what I was looking for. Let me throw this up.
Here's one summer of 2015, summer of 1988 or 1998. So it looks like more warm weather than cold.
Well, it makes sense that they're reptilian.
So if they're
reptilian, here's this track again, the one that was taken of the Honey, one that was taken of Scape or Swamp. And these are tracks of the Honey Island swamp monster.
Now, that looks more like the things or the prints that I saw when I was doing my research for.
And that looks more like what they described with the webbed fingers and etc.
Right.
And it's got 3 toes too, just like they were talking about.
Now this one, I don't know if the impression didn't get the webbing detail or if it's just not present, but that is a really odd shaped foot.
Well, I mean, not getting the webbing would be entirely possible because you got to keep in mind how light that's got to be in order to tread water.
I was just thinking about that, Noah, because if it's sunk down, the webbing's going to kind of
the webbing's just going to arc over whatever it's touching.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
that the way there's a break between the front part of the pad and the rear part of the pad, would that be suggestive of a mid-tarsal break like in Bigfoot? Like a different flexion of the foot, or is the foot just designed that way?
It could be either one. I mean, without looking at having that cast right there to look at, it's kind of hard to make that determination. But I mean, to me, from that cast, it looks like a mid-tarsal break. But
I was about to say, I mean, a mid-tarsal break is common in bipeds. So
Well,
I mean,
no. The mid-tarsal break's not present in humans.
Well, I don't mean specifically humans. I mean, it's common in bipeds just in general. Like, we don't have one, sure, but I mean, look at apes, look at monkeys, look at other bipeds on the planet.
That's what Dr. Meldrum was talking about in the presence in Sasquatch tracks.
I said it was common. I didn't say it was constant.
Yeah, well, what he was saying was the mid-tarsal break was what led him to believe that those were legitimate tracks, because the presence of that mid-tarsal break and the flexion in the foot. He said you would have to have a PhD in primate track morphology to be able to fake a track like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, pulling that back up again, let me pull it up. Pulling that back up again, if that is a mid-tarsal break, then I don't think the foot is as long as they depicted, because as long as those toes are, to me, it would almost seem like those were like dragged, like it was propelling itself quickly, like the toes might have pushed, been elongated as it was running. What do you guys think?
Like they're splayed out?
Right, yeah. Exactly.
Well, they're deeper than the pad or the heel, which would.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that would denote that it was running and putting the weight on the front of its foot like that, pushing forward.
The pressure's right there on the front.
If it was just standing still or just standing there, the track would be more even across the whole proportion of the track. But you can tell that those toes are a lot deeper in the ground, and your toes are not going to do that if you're just standing there, unless you're, So I would think that would be a running track.
Mm. Yeah, because like the deepness of the toes would indicate that it was moving forwards and putting, like you said, more weight towards the front of its foot.
Werewolf 5674 says looks fake. That was kind of my first instinct too.
There's several comments that have been here saying it looks like a fake.
And that was another thing that I was about to say, is it could also be indicative of it not being a real print, because weight distribution. If you're faking a print, it's not going to be consistent.
Well, remember, this was taken 2 weeks after the initial sighting.
That don't look real, man. That looks like a hieroglyphic. Oh, I can't even talk right now.
Hieroglyphic?
There you go. I couldn't mention it.
What he said.
That's right.
It looks like an Aris Griffin.
That's don't work. That's right.
It's okay, Anthony. We know you were a Marine. Sound it out slowly.
That's right.
Have another crayon, buddy.
All kinds of inter-service love in here.
Yeah.
Hey man, I have no room to make any comments.
Now that's an interesting.
We don't look like this.
It's an interesting print. They're interesting cast, but I don't know.
Doc, he's not even looking.
What? You got a real pretty mouth, boy.
Squeal like a pig.
And now we've moved on to the deliverance segment of the show.
I hear banjo music.
Wow, we got 122 people in chat. Holy moly.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing?
Wow.
Hey, guys, here's another picture of the Honey Island swamp monster, of its track.
See, that looks more like a gator to me, man, because when I used to go out, we'd see gator tracks just like that. I mean, going across the levee down the slide. That's what that looks like. We used to go hog hunting. That looks more like a gator track.
And that's what, about 8.5, 9 inches?
Thereabouts.
Yeah, that's about a 10-foot gator, 11-foot gator.
But the tracks were found bipedally.
Well,
And they're only 3 toes too, whereas
Yeah.
gators have 5 in the front and 4 in
Right.
the rear.
okay, well, that's true, but that's what it looks like. It looks like a gator track, though,
Yeah.
man. I mean,
So there goes the thing about what we were talking about earlier. Anthony, is could it be a irradiated gator or something in that species?
could be,
Alien? I don't
could
know.
be, depending on where they live. I mean, they got a nuclear power plant by them or something. You never know.
But they got an Air Force base nearby.
There you go. They just answered that question.
Nerd Babble says put a coconut into slices and lay it down, then lay carrots in front of it that might resemble that picture.
Oh,
Yeah.
Interesting. So when was the last sighting there, DA?
Now, even in like the last few years, people are reporting getting glimpses of something out in the swamp. But as far as like full on it messing with vehicles, I don't think I've seen a recent one like that. During that time, there were people that lived near Skateboard Swamp that reported damage done to their vehicle that looked like teeth or claws.
There's a guy that lives on a property down there. I think it was an old airstrip, and he was a crop duster for one of the big crops down there.
Mhm.
And he was saying that there's been sightings as recently as I think 2015. And he kind of leans towards the theory of it being maybe a extraterrestrial cover up.
Good.
Well, that's exactly what we were mentioning.
Yeah. If you get on YouTube and put in Lizardman of Scape or Swamp, that little documentary will pop up. It's actually a pretty good little documentary. This guy actually, I think he was taken off to go on a crop dusting run, and it ran across in front of his plane, ran across his runway.
Wow.
Yeah, that would make me go up in a plane real quick.
Yeah. Now I got a question for you, Robbie. I mean, and we're talking about reptilian stuff, crocodilian stuff, all this kind of stuff. But how they describe the face? Have they been described as having an elongated snout or more of a humanoid type head?
More like a turtle style head, even.
And to answer your question, Werewolf, before I answer yours, Doc, yeah, that's not too far from that area.
Okay.
Savannah River Plant's in Georgia, but it's right close to that general area, Charleston, and down in the lower part of the state.
And that's a power plant?
Yeah, the Savannah River Plant. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually where they did some of the experiments I was talking about with the snakes. On some of that property where they put them in that pit down there to see if they would survive.
I mean, we don't have any accounts of anything like that in Florida. I mean, out in the swamp, I've never heard any.
How many times have we heard accounts of UFO sightings near nuclear power plants?
Right.
A lot.
A lot.
Yep.
lot.
But anyway, back to your question, Doc. Don't know that I've ever heard anybody specifically say anything about it having a gator or a crocodilian type snout. It more or less like the slee stack is the best way I can.
Yeah, exactly. From Land of the Lost.
Yeah. Or what's his name? Captain Kirk fought in.
Yeah.
The Gorn.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah. Them damn slee stacks scared the hell out of me when I was a kid. I know that much.
Oh yeah.
Me too.
That thing Captain Kirk fought scared the crap out of me.
Me and Robbie are going to have our own show on movies and TV critics, so we can't get into it right now. But
right. Well, cold-blooded
Anthony, are you making notes for our show?
Hey, Robbie, cold-blooded or warm-blooded? The key word there is blood, and if it bleeds,
you can kill it.
It can die.
This picture is very much like the way they described it.
That looks more alien.
That's exactly what I said.
That looks alien to me, man. I mean, I don't know. Well, people have said that, right? How many accounts of people drawing pictures or had people draw pictures for them about aliens that they seen that look reptilian?
Right, exactly.
All right, question from Northwoods there, DA. How close to Goldsboro, that's where Seymour Johnson, we used to call it Seymour Johnson, Air Force Base is in North Kakalaki?
I don't know.
Because I know Seymour Johnson, we used to have to fly into Seymour Johnson when Fort Bragg or Pope was fogged over. We'd have to stay there and remain overnight until we could
Robbie,
fly.
you got any idea how far those are apart?
What are we looking at the distance for?
Seymour
Columbia,
Johnson.
let's say Columbia, North Carolina to Goldsboro, North Carolina.
Bro, put those guns away, man. What are you doing?
What?
Columbia, South Carolina, Goldberg, North Carolina, Goldsboro, North Carolina.
Noah's got the guns out.
Maybe?
Put those
This is
guns
about
away.
Guns
hour
up,
and a half.
guns out.
Yeah, a couple hundred miles.
Columbia, South Carolina to Goldsboro, North Carolina would be about 3.5 hours or 221 miles.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Couple hundred miles, yeah.
Well, that ain't squat if it's a UFO.
No.
Yeah, I mean, like that's I mean, even a plane, like even if you're in a
that ain't
Cessna,
nothing.
like I mean, like that's
That's
probably
nothing.
about half the time.
Yeah.
And I know Seymour Johnson was an F-15 base whenever I was in. I don't know if it still is. It's part of Air Combat Command. So,
Oh, Northwoods. That's a good point. Right here. The question was because of Greensboro. Yeah.
Huh.
that's right. It sure did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Were those nukes recovered? I know there's something along the lines of like 24 nukes that have been lost over the years that were never recovered.
Oops.
The unaccounted for nuclear
Broken arrows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a big oops.
Yeah, that's crazy. Oh, Brandy's here. Hey, Brandy. She's in. Didn't see that until now.
6 nuclear weapons from the Cold War era are unaccounted for even today.
Nice.
Derek Buckle says, DA, what's the
Okay.
history of UFO sightings in the swamp area? Go ahead. Sorry, Noah. Go ahead.
No, I just said that's really good.
Huh.
Also,
I have no idea.
Anthony, the reason why I'm wearing a sleeveless shirt is because it turns out when you eat the way I do, a lot of shirts stop fitting as well as they should.
Oh, yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah, DA, that was a good question he had on
UFO
UFO
sightings?
sightings in swamp areas. I mean, we know there's a lot of UFO sightings near military installations, whether
Absolutely.
that's intelligence gathering or whatever, but swamp areas, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not a big UFO guy. I've never really done a whole lot of UFO investigation,
Right.
but it is something that seems like we're kind of tailing in that direction, like we're going to have to start doing our research a little bit better. But I could reach out to some folks I know in MUFON and see what kind of sightings we've had in that area.
Yeah,
But it's
never
not something
seen
I would
one.
find out tonight.
I'd be interested to hear that, to hear what the results of that were in swampy areas.
Norm just sent me a message that said that LA has a sighting and stories of reptilians taking animals or people. And there's also a city that was closed off by city government when a geologist discovered, I'm assuming, subterranean entrances.
Huh.
Where was this
Crazy.
at?
But Norm, if you're listening, can you let us know where that was at? Because he didn't say, and he just said LA had sightings, but he didn't say where the but
That's
that'd be
crazy.
interesting to know that.
Northwood says, from what I remember, one of the bombs is still buried in a swamp.
Oh, nice.
So
Well, that could explain all the 3-headed alligators and 4-headed snakes and stuff.
I mean, what could possibly go wrong?
four-headed
Yeah, no
snake?
kidding.
You mean my ex? Wait, hold on.
Norman says LA, California. There were parts of the city that were sealed off because of subterranean entrances.
When was this?
Ruh-roh.
When was this?
What the hell?
Yeah.
Derek Buckle says
Damn it,
Josh Inocio. Josh Ninocio had a piece about the story of What Lurks Beneath episode that dropped today. I need to reach out to Josh and get him back on the show. Josh is a good dude.
Yeah, he is.
John
Well,
Doe
it's
says
only-
the alligators can have some atomic munitions as a threat.
Yeah, it's defense.
Mutual
It's
assured destruction with the alligators.
Yeah.
Well, we are
The sun
talking
never
about,
sets on the alligator empire.
we
So
are
what
talking
you're saying
about
is-
California, so I mean, really.
We need to bring the gators and crocodiles into NATO so they can declare their nuclear weapons.
Norm said 1955 to 1960.
Dude, if you can find a link on that, shoot it to us. Maybe there might be
Never
a
heard
show
about
in
it.
that alone.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is.
Werewolf 5674 says Chud. That was a pretty good movie
But
for what it was. Cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers.
Yeah. Oh boy.
So, Doc, you was in
Yes.
the chair force.
See,
So, how often do you think that SAC bases? Well, I don't know they call it that anymore, but you know the old the strategic bases. How often did they get buzzed by lights?
I know for a fact what Nellis is one big one, and it's still getting activity. The base I was at, I never heard. Of course, I was just a freaking grunt. I mean, I may not have heard anything because I wasn't in command staff or anything like that. And just like with that kid at Shaw, they swept it under the rug. It probably went no further than command staff, but I know for a fact, like Nellis still gets activity. What's the Air Force base off of Hurlburt Field down there close to Pensacola Beach? They get activity.
What's that big Air Force base near Phoenix?
That is Luke, and they do too, because I was just out at Luke Air Force Base, hang out in the F-35 squadron 2 months ago.
Well, I know that I read some encounters from some air policemen that were stationed at Luke. I couldn't remember the name of the base, but I knew it was the one near Phoenix. And
Yep.
They were talking about Sasquatch inside the wire.
Yeah, I've heard stories about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I was up there driving around the Mogollon Rim, and that's not too far, up in Heber, Payson area where I was driving down to Phoenix, down to Scottsdale in that area. So that's totally plausible.
Northwood says the SAC base I was stationed at had multiple incidents over the years.
Yeah.
So we look at all of these strategic bases, these military bases, not just Air Force, because that's not the only ones that are getting it. There are reports of aircraft carriers getting buzzed by lights. So we look at all these military bases that are seeing not only lights in the sky, but the Air Force specifically being tasked with dealing with UFO reports under Project Blue Book. And then we find out there was an Air Force guy involved in a sighting of the Scape Swamp, where he actually shot one and was able to recover blood and scales, but later recanted his story. What is this all? These connections running into? Are we looking at extraterrestrials, or are we looking at subterraneans? What do you guys think?
Subterranean, I would say.
I would err more on the side of subterranean on account of. I mean, I've been looking at UFO sightings in the area, and I mean, like, they're sporadic, but not around the same times. UFO sightings tend to happen year round versus the sightings of these lizard people, which tend to be
in warmer months.
Months or in the early fall.
Let's look at the obvious question that is not being. What if it's both? What if this is an alien race, but that's
they live underground,
subterranean bases,
right?
Or the adverse of this. What if it's a subterranean species that has already achieved space capabilities?
Oh, Norm says sorry. It was the 1930s, right there. Well, we don't have to worry about that. We have Space Force now.
Oh, yeah, they'll keep us safe.
So that's right. They'll fight alien invasions.
Additionally, though, the reason why I think they could be subterranean is, I mean, webbed feet. That's the big thing for me. Is we're talking about something that has evolutionarily something for swimming underwater, something that will help propel it underwater, meaning it could be using underwater cave systems that we just can't access because we are, 8 people.
Which brings us full circle to the UFO show we did months ago, Doc. Remember that?
Yep.
And this. What they believe may be an underwater UFO base off of Malibu, California.
And speaking of that, DA, I just sent you something to your text that you and I text on. that I just saw, and it is very interesting, and it happened in the 90s. So check that out.
All right. Well, I'll have to read this because since you sent it to me by text, I can't bring it up on my computer. It says nuclear submarine buzzed by underwater object traveling faster than the speed of sound. How could it travel that fast underwater? The incredible encounter, which took place in the late 1990s, has come to light after a scientist on board decided to speak to a YouTube channel and revealed his terrifying experience. A nuclear submarine was buzzed by an unidentified object traveling underwater faster than the speed of sound. The claim came from a scientist who had been carrying out classified work aboard the USS Hampton. Bob McGuire told fighter pilot turned UFO researcher Chris Lato how the sub was passed at astonishing speed while it was running deep and fast in the late 1990s. He said the encounter was confirmed by a member of the crew who was shocked by the speed of the USO, or unidentified submerged object. McGuire told Lato Files YouTube channel, "We were underway and all of a sudden I hear the sound. It's really strange because it's clear that what is going on is something is whizzing by us and it's moving so fast I just can't believe it. This thing blew by us like we were standing still." He added, "A person with knowledge of onboard systems came out and said this goddamn thing is going faster than the speed of sound underwater, but that's faster than the speed of sound in air." McGuire said the crew didn't want to report it, didn't want to tell anybody, and didn't want to cause any problems. He claims months after the footage was released by the U.S. military, apparently showing UFO moving from the air to the sea, filmed by a warship in 2019.
Huh. That's crazy.
That's freaking bizarre.
Yeah.
Yep. When I saw that, I was like, "Oh, I got to share this with the crew. This is awesome."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How would you like to be on that sub and have that? You'd be like, okay.
Negative.
You're not even safe in a sub.
Well, I think this is the point where I decide I am never going to re-enlist.
Suddenly that re-enlistment bonus isn't looking so appealing.
That's
You
nuts.
said you're going to offer me how little to re-enlist? No. That number is not nearly high enough.
It's bad enough that they're out flying and out maneuvering in our top jets that we have in production now.
Mm-hmm.
But now
John
you're
Doe says,
underwater.
I'm very surprised that the sonar wasn't simply drowned out to the point of
Yeah.
uselessness by the sound produced. It would have had to have been.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, just the power that something like that would have to have to be able to generate enough force to propel an object. Because what's the difference in resistance of water versus the resistance of air?
That's
Right.
what I'm thinking too. I mean, honestly, how close was it? Because obviously, the closer it is, there could have been. I mean, and none of this was in the report that I read. It was from the UK news, but I mean, there could have been. Let's think about the shock waves coming off of that thing underwater. Could that have caused some not only sonar damage but structural damage to the hull?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, I mean, that's a lot of freaking force, dude.
Werewolf 5674 says, if it was underwater, how could they know it was going faster than the speed of sound? They can determine the speed of vessels and torpedoes and all kinds of submerged things simply by the distance to the sonar pod.
Right.
It's a complicated mathematical formula, but they can determine the speed of something underwater just by the sound it's making.
They can tell you how fast the torpedo is going and how many knots it's doing.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And just like they've got all these things in Anthony down in Florida. I mean, the USOs down off like Pensacola Beach and everything. They'd see them out there, the lights in formation, and then boop, they'd hit the water. You know, just like what DA and I, on the UFO show that we did, and they showed that thing off the coast of Malibu.
Yeah, that happens. I think it happens almost every night out there. Everybody lines up with cameras and stuff, and if I'm not mistaken, it does happen almost every night.
That's crazy.
When you go out there, there'll be people lined up with cameras, video cameras, and they'll catch it, and then they'll just go straight into the ocean and disappear.
Norman Meredith says there's an ionizing effect that has been proven that negates resistance to water. Him and I talked about it. That's true. And Noah and I were actually talking about something very similar after watching Marvel's The Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
we were wondering about the propulsion system that the Wakanda jets were using, and you could see the sound waves beneath it.
Well, the thing is, you could see the the propulsion system bouncing, similar
Right.
to a speaker, right?
Now,
So
granted, that's a Marvel movie, and take that with a grain of salt. But high energy sonics can be used to do an amazing amount of
Right.
things.
So what does it
Right.
do? Does it displace the pressure of the water?
It basically just creates a bubble around it, a bubble of sound, and just
Yeah.
slips through the water.
So it's not affected by the hydrostatic force.
so effectively, it would be repelling the water around it and creating itself a dragless pocket.
Right.
And
Well, you would have to come up with something that would take the surface tension away from, because
Right.
the
right.
friction that the vessel is going to encounter going through the water. Since we're talking about the superhero movies, there's another guy that did a breakdown on like the Aquaman movie with the scene where he lifts the sub up out of the water,
Mhm.
and he was doing the math on that, and he's not just lifting the sub, he's lifting the column of water above the sub too, because water
The
has
amount of
weight.
weight would be tremendous.
Yeah, so and it would be the same way moving forward as it would moving up. You're still, if something's moving that fast through the water, it's pushing that column of water in front of it. So you would have to have something like that, like Noah said, that would create that, I guess, a vacuum, for lack of a better term, around it, because it's just the amount of force it would take to push something that fast through that water is just phenomenal.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
physics is still physics,
Right. Blue Crossroads says it would make sense if you buy Bob Lazar's report on how a UFO uses a gravity field for propulsion.
True.
And then John Doe had a good comment. He says it's called supercavitating. Yeah, I've heard about that. Basically, it's using a harmonic frequency to resonate through the hull of whatever vehicle is moving beneath the water, and it creates a bubble of cavitation around itself, which basically ionizes the water around it and reduces the friction.
So basically, in effect, you're flying underwater.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we also got to keep in mind, obviously it's all science fiction, and I mean, at this point, we're just using science fiction as any sort of basis for how things go with this. But I mean, you also got to keep in mind, deflector shields are a topic. It's not necessarily a sonic projection or anything like that. It could just be a field of energy keeping the water from touching it, because it would just be disrupting it.
Yeah,
we don't know because we don't have the tech.
Right.
Well, and you hit it right on the head. No, it's speculation,
Right?
But, and granted, we're using science fiction movies, Marvel movies, DC movies, but you have to go somewhere with what you can quantify to actually explain this way, because we don't know. I mean, but you have to use something that you can.
Right, and there has to be a degree of believability to science fiction anyway. So you have to base it on something that could be feasible. You know what I mean?
Well,
you can't just be like, oh yeah, the people of this planet were psychic because
didn't they
don't eat McDonald's.
If I'm not mistaken, didn't they produce a plasma window, but it was the size of a dime, where you could see through
I don't
it?
know.
It was about that big. That's the most energy they could produce to cover. It was impenetrable, but it was made out of plasma. But you could see right
I think
through
I remember
it.
hearing about that, Anthony.
Yeah, and I think that's the only thing they could get it to go for back then, back in the 90s. So, I mean, if they're figuring this stuff out, and everybody knows, I mean, DARPA will figure anything out when it comes to the military. They'll design anything and get their hands on anything for them to use in the military. So you never know. We don't know what's out there. We don't know what we have. That's the whole thing. I mean, whoever thought of a railgun on top of a battleship on a destroyer?
But they've got them now.
Right.
Yeah, I've been looking into that. They've kind of ceased the idea behind that just because the energy draw off of those things. It was more of a proof of concept type deal.
Lene Perkins had a good question. She says, is it possible that the satellite that shall not be named is a space station for aliens to stay at between visits to the Earth, or a lab used to experiment in different life forms? I think it's probably a observation satellite.
I don't know what
That's what
satellite
I
we're
think it
talking
is.
about.
Because we know that for whatever reason, when the Apollo mission first orbited the moon, one of the first things that was said was, Houston, there is a Santa Claus. Why?
Right.
Why was that line said?
Well, they came up with different. What did they come up with? They came up with like
The main excuse was they were talking about how close it was to Christmas and that they were the light going around the moon, and they were Santa Claus.
I think that was a verification code word for them seeing what they thought they were going to see on the far side of the moon.
Right. Yeah.
And notice we haven't been back.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say when I got. Why have we not been back to the moon?
Yeah,
Well,
it's not that there's nothing there for us.
Yeah,
Because I mean, like, you know, we like, as far as like museums and whatnot go, like, you know, the government understands there's a high demand for the moon rocks. You know, like every museum on the planet wants to have moon rock. You know, they want to be able to be the ones that say, hey, we have rocks from the moon.
right.
So,
Well,
you know,
aren't we going back to the moon? Aren't we? That's what they're trying to do.
I think they're planning a mission back.
Right.
I know the Chinese government was saying that they were
Did
going
the
to go to
Chinese
the moon.
actually go?
No.
I heard they were planning a mission.
As far as I know, we're the only ones that have ever.
We're the only ones to touch foot on the moon.
Right. But I mean, as far as it goes now, I know that last launch here in Florida, what was it, a month ago? They were actually prepping that to go to the moon, weren't? I mean, that's what I heard. To get the distance in the orbit around the Earth. And they said it was going to shoot around the moon and come back. But that was the one mission. But then
Northwood says we're supposed to go back to the moon in the next 2 years.
Yeah.
And Richard Cox says we haven't been back to the moon because the federal government is giving a lot of money away to China.
You ain't wrong.
John Doe says DARPA is a bunch of hacks who make funny concepts that look at wacky ideas. If you want actual spooky military, look at the various research programs and labs and centers around individual branches. Not wrong.
No.
Big K Show says, what would be the benefit for a country to say we need to go to the moon currently, though, realistically? Well, one,
the sheer amount of money you could make off of selling moon rocks to museums.
Well, I think there's a base
that aside, that's not going to counterbalance the cost it takes to put a manned mission on the moon. You'd have to bring back a crap ton of moon rocks.
Mm-hmm.
What if there's something up there that is a far more valuable resource than we've ever been told?
Right.
Yeah.
What if mining the moon is not in our distant future?
Never know.
Well, I sincerely hope we don't go up there and mine the moon because, you know, we destabilize the moon, we destabilize our tide.
Yep.
We destabilize our rotation as well.
We destabilize us.
There's a lot of geologists that are saying the moon wasn't always in orbit.
Well, yeah, I mean,
geological evidence to indicate the moon
was once part of Earth. Like that's like a proven fact now. It's like we got hit with something big at one point, and the moon was part of the Earth at the time.
It yeeted the moon away from the Earth.
Yeah. So it separated a huge chunk of rock away from the Earth like millions of years ago. And
why is it still jagged instead of round?
Because it doesn't have enough mass to really be pulling anything in towards itself to kind of grind itself into a perfect circle.
Because it's made out of cheese.
It's made out of cheese. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There you go.
John says, if you're going to do space mining, there are far better places to do it. True, but we don't have the tech to reach the Oort cloud. If we could mine the Oort cloud, there's something even the asteroid field. If we could mine the asteroid field, there's something along the lines of 1,000 times the resources of Earth.
Yeah, I mean, the Oort cloud is mostly dark matter, or at least theorized to be mostly dark matter, I guess I should say.
Well, the asteroid field, Tycho alone is bigger than Texas.
Well, a small, like a spoonful of dark matter would weigh more than any vehicle, any tank ever made. You know, it would a spoonful of it is so dense that like you wouldn't be able to bring it back into Earth's atmosphere.
Not
Mhm.
with current technology.
Right? Yeah.
Kind of like Northwood's ex-wife. I did that one.
Beat
for
him
you,
to the punch.
Northwood.
Do-do-do-do.
Yeah, that's true. Elon Musk, yeah, he's the one that's really going to do it as far as us getting back to the moon.
Yeah.
It's the truth, and it's sad to say you should have one individual that's going to do it, and NASA, who knows?
Hi, Jimmy.
Jimmy
How
G
are
says
you,
a
buddy?
spoonful of dark matter helps the medicine go down, the medicine go down, the medicine go down.
God bless you, Jimmy.
That's hilarious.
Oh,
So we're looking at that all of these tie-ins to alien sightings, UFO sightings, unidentified submerged object sightings. How does all this figure into the Lizardman of Scape or Swamp? What if that thing was just an alien or a subterranean alien that just happened to get seen by people, and specifically shot by an Air Force
Yeah.
officer?
Well, think
airman.
about it. How many subspecies have they discovered now and back in the 90s and now underground rivers and caves? I
Right.
mean, in lakes down there. I
Right.
mean, stuff that we haven't even seen, and they're amazed at what they like frogs that didn't even look like frogs. You know, I mean, so you never know what's down there, man. I mean, seriously, we haven't even discovered
Dude,
or investigated half the oceans around the world.
absolutely. And if we knew what was down there, it would blow our freaking simple little minds.
Oh yeah,
oh yeah.
Right. Well,
Think
we know
about all those
geologists
blue
have
holes.
gone several days into the cave system in Mammoth, started finding bones.
right,
How the hell did those get there?
right.
They were
So,
also
I mean-
finding like backpacks and camping equipment.
Yeah.
How did
look
that
at that
get
one
down
story.
there?
Look at the one story that we get. What's his name told that was supposed to be a geologist, a team of geologists that worked for the government.
Cam
All
Butler.
the stuff. Yeah, Cam Butler. All the stuff they found down in the caves that they were doing research in, and so happened to be a clan of Bigfoot lived down there.
Mhm.
And this girl ran for about an hour and a half and came out in another state from a cave.
She was down there for a few days.
Oh yeah, and ran the opposite
7
way.
days. 7 days.
7 days.
Right.
Billy Dink says Graham Hancock talks about ancient advanced civilizations. Could advanced reptilians have survived for thousands of years underground? Well, look at the hollow earth theory.
Why not?
Commodore Perry claimed they flew into a hole over the South Pole and that there was another civilization down there. Now, I don't think the entire earth is hollow like an egg, because there's no way he could have traversed from the North to South Pole in an old prop-powered airplane without refueling, because distance from pole to pole, if you go straight through the earth, is still, 25,000 miles or something like that? There's no way that plane flew that far.
Well,
Now,
I mean,
could there be massive caverns underground that have civilizations in them? Yes.
where did Jules Verne get the idea of this journey to the center of the earth?
Right.
True.
It makes you wonder where he got that. Well, we also know that there's that cavern they found in Indonesia that is so massive it has its own ecosystem.
Oh yeah, if you go on YouTube, you can watch it. I mean, it's huge. It looks like
From
another
that
world.
cavern to the roof is taller than the Empire State Building.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Think of all those blue holes that are, all over the place that nobody knows where they actually go to because they're so deep they can't be explored.
Right. That's true. Very true. Yeah, we haven't even scratched the surface with our planet.
Yeah, I mean,
Mrs.
we know
Chef
more
Yoda.
about the surface of Mars than we do about the bottom of our ocean. Like,
Right.
Mrs. Chef Yoda, good to see you again, by the way. She had a good comment. She says there's another book called The Smoky God that was apparently true as well. He and his father, fisherman from Norway, ended up down there. That's a great story. I've got to find that book.
Oh wait, that was a movie.
Mm-hmm.
They made a movie about that. Yeah, I seen the movie. Yeah, it took place. I think it took place back in the 50s, the movie, or the 60s. They came back with diamonds the size of footballs, and it was crazy. I got to find the name of that movie.
Mrs. Chef Yoda says it's a free PDF online. Ma'am, if you could do me a favor, send me the link to that, because I don't know exactly what to Google search for that. If you know where it's at, please send me that link, and I'll share it with the guys. Werewolf 5674 says a moon base would shorten the trip to Mars. Sure would.
Yeah.
Because the biggest expenditure of fuel to go to Mars is going to be leaving Atmo.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's very
Well, I
true.
mean, it could also increase the time it takes to get to Mars, because you'd have to base it off of the position of the moon. So you'd have to plan it out way ahead.
Well, the same thing what they do with orbital insertions now. They plan those specifically,
right?
for certain apogees, certain windows of exit, and certain windows of return. Because they do it under very specific circumstances. Jimmy G says, look throughout pretty much every human culture with access to the ocean. They all share reports of sea monsters like dragons and krakens.
Right.
He's not wrong.
No.
Yeah, and I mean, you have stories of dragons that fit the description of a sea serpent more than they fit the description of what we know as, like, the Game of Thrones dragons and stuff like that.
Well, those weren't really. Well, you got off on another tangent.
What I'm saying is who is to say that these dragons in Chinese culture, these dragons like Jormungandr, who's to say that these are sky dwelling dragons and not ocean dragons that people have been seeing coming up from
subterranean
or subterranean. That long slender body style is a lot more consistent with something that would tunnel instead of fly.
Right. Well, Jormungandr was supposed to be so large that he encircled the earth and bit his own tail.
Mm-hmm.
I got a dog that does that now.
You have dog, name him Ouroboros.
Yeah. Runs in circles, chases his tail. Wow. Yeah. Oh boy.
Just here and there, 66 says a moon base was the goal of the space program, and then it was never heard of again until recently. Maybe they postponed that because of what they found up there. Yeah, either we didn't have the technology to make it feasible, or we had reason to be afraid of going back.
Right.
Who found a base in the pictures? Didn't somebody find a base on the moon in the pictures?
Mm-hmm.
Some pictures was that on the dark side of the moon they found it?
I don't know if those were ever proven. That's the issue. I don't know if those were.
Well, anytime you post something like that, you can tell. To me, anyway, I assign credibility to photos like that by the sheer amount of effort exerted to debunk the pictures.
Well, the one that came forward was a lady, and they proved it, that worked for NASA, that actually looked at pictures before it went out to the media, and she had to Photoshop it and everything. So there were certain things, like she admitted it. There's certain things on these pictures we could not show the public, and she worked, and they checked her out. She worked for NASA. That was her job. That's what she did. And they would look at these pictures before they would send them out to the higher ups, and they would give them two sets. One that they
do the same thing with the NASA rover on Mars.
Right.
One that was
she was the one that did.
So you mean they're trying to hide shit from us?
No.
I think that.
Please say it ain't so.
I think they found something that scared the ever loving crap out of them. I think that's why we hadn't been back.
Yeah, and I think that's why that lady came forward, and they checked her credibility. She worked for NASA for 20 something years. That's what she did. She would do all the pictures, all the stuff that would come back from mission and from the when they took pictures of the moon, anything. And that's what she did. She went through them and make sure everything was black. What they would take something out of the picture and leave it out for the public not to see it. And then the pictures that they showed her, she said those pictures that are coming out in public now, that's one of the pictures that she had a photo proof on, because if the public knew what was going on, the American people, it would be craziness. So, I mean, she was credible. They found she does work. She did work for NASA. That's what she did. Why would she make something like that up, though? You know, I mean,
Exactly.
what, 5 minutes of glory? Never heard of her again.
Mhm.
You know,
She
so
probably got told very
I would
quickly to
tend to-
shut up.
Yeah.
Or
yeah,
got disappeared very quickly.
Yeah.
right. But I mean, why
Noah
would
sent
she
me a
just-
message.
I
We
mean,
got a
I-
very
I
good
take
point.
credit
We've got
for
a
that.
whole lot of people in the house that weren't with us when we first started out. Seeing some
Yeah.
new faces in chat. Take a quick minute to do another quick introduction. If you guys are new to the channel, I hope you guys will give us a second and like, share, and subscribe to the video. I'm D.A. Roberts, and these boys here in the house, Anthony Pitbull Canatella, Robbie the Scalp Hunter Reigns, Kerry Pocket Doc Davis, and my son Noah Jorgamunder at twitchtv.com/Jorgamunder. We're glad you guys are joining us. Welcome to DAX Machina. We're proud to have you as part of the DAX Machina Nation. Oh, Robert Miller's
That's a
in the
good
house.
nickname.
Welcome aboard, Sentinel.
Yeah, the Wild Bunch. That's a good name. There you go.
Wild Bunch, yeah.
My
The
merry
men.
band of miscreants.
But
Yeah.
now hearing Wild Bunch, I'm now thinking of was it the Wild Thornberries? Was it smashing?
Yeah.
More like the Demented Bunch. Yeah.
Well, you know,
Richie
The
Harris says, I'm a
Demented.
first timer and this is cool. Well, Richie, welcome to the DAX Machina Nation. We're proud to have you here, man. Thank you for joining us. Mark
The
Mayfield says
Dementia Bunch.
USOs are pretty much a given fact now. Yeah, with NASA coming forward, not
Yeah.
just NASA, but the Department of the Navy and the government coming
Yeah.
forward and admitting cockpit footage is real.
Yeah.
They are aware of and have been tracking unidentified objects for a long time. This is what we're calling soft disclosures, people, and we're starting to see it in the cryptid world as well. We're
Well, look
seeing
at the
more and more
pilot.
signs popping up at trailheads that warn people of Sasquatch activity. We're seeing soft disclosures like that, and I don't think we're ever going to get the big reveal where the government just goes, bang, here's everything. They're going to drop bits and pieces and just just sit back and let people connect the dots.
Well, look at the
It's
pilot.
never going to be the front page story.
you know, whenever everything finally settles and everyone's finally come to the conclusion, oh, these things are real. They're gonna be like,
Right.
yeah, we were, it was real the whole time. Like we were right there with you guys.
That
Like-
pilot the pilot that was chasing that one UFO off the coast of California that has the video, he said that thing was moving so fast that they had a hard time tracking it. And he was, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't he in what kind of plane again, DA?
I think he was in like an F-35 or an F-22.
Right. So
Then there was a pilot in the 1950s, shortly after World War II, in a P-51 Mustang that tried to catch one over Kentucky and wound up crashing.
right. So even you got one of the top pilots, and if I'm not mistaken, the pilot was a Top Gun candidate that graduated, and he said that thing was moving so fast that even his camera that would try to lock onto it had a hard time
Yeah.
getting
And
getting a lock on it.
it was pulling G's, Anthony. I remember because it was doing such crazy turns.
Yeah,
It was pulling G's way in excess of what a human being can even withstand.
right.
It would crush us.
Yeah, it was
Creeper
nuts.
Scripted in Paranormal Corner says, what about the satellite that can't be named, apparently on its way out of the solar system now? Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
wait. Are you talking
Jimmy
about
G
the,
says Alex Dietrich and Lieutenant Commander David Fravor have done multiple interviews on the Nimitz incident.
the thing that's on its way out of the solar system? Are you talking about the asteroid, the Oumuamua? It's just a tumbling rock.
No, we were talking
huge
about
tumbling rock.
what they refer to as the Black Knight satellite,
Black
and I
Knight
believe
satellite.
it's still in orbit.
They won't talk about it.
Well, the thing that's on its way out of the solar system is the current thing that is in the news that's heading out of the solar system is the Oumuamua. It's
Yeah.
it's a long ass slender asteroid.
Well,
I
the
say
satellite,
slender. I say slender, but it's like moon sized.
the satellite that your dad's talking about is that they won't even discuss. If somebody asks a question, they avoid answering anything on it.
Right. And I'll put up a picture of it now. I'm if we start getting crazy feedback and crazy stuff, it's because of this. This is the Black Knight satellite.
Yeah.
They believe it's been in orbit for thousands of years. They don't know its origin. They don't know how it got there, but it stays in a geosync orbit, and it doesn't decay. This thing they don't know where it came from or how it got there, but it's
they
been
know
in
it's
the
made
same
out of.
orbit
They
for
know it's made out of
thousands
material.
years.
It's not rock.
Yeah, they don't know what it is.
It's not rock. They said it has nothing to do with rock. It's a material. It's a metal material. They know that, and that's about it. But they won't discuss it with anybody that asks questions about it. They avoid the question.
Oh, so it's like
you guys can Google it. It's called the Black Knight satellite.
Yeah.
So they won't talk about whether it's emitting radio signals or not, eh?
Right. They will not say.
Well, if it's emitting radio signals, I mean, all you really got to do is point a receiver antenna at it and see if you can pick anything up.
Yeah, but all I got to do is lie about it.
Well, I mean, like as a person, I mean, like you can point a receiver antenna at any satellite and pick up feedback. I mean, like it's all going to be encoded.
Yeah, they've never said what orbit it's in. They just said that it's in orbit. So good luck finding it.
That's fair.
And I can tell you from my own personal experience, unless you've got the exact orbital coordinates of a satellite, you're not going to find it.
Yeah,
Cox. Black Knight satellite. What is it? Let me see.
It says it's Fallen Angel Tech.
Yeah.
That's as good a guess as any. We don't know what it is.
You never know.
Just here and there says it's a sentinel left by higher beings, the ones everyone is afraid of. Does anyone know if SETI still has the data share program? No, they terminated
SETI at home.
They
closed it.
They shut that program down.
DA, you remember that?
The Decepticons waiting to invade the United States. How's that one?
There you go. What was that, Robbie?
Do you remember that author I told you about, Chris Fox, that wrote that series? He actually has the Black Knight satellite in that series.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Huh.
You need to read that series, and because what we're talking about right now, that's he's got an interesting take on it. Let's just put it that way.
Mogi on Monster says in 2025, NASA is launching the Artemis program, which will be bringing people back to the moon.
Yeah, I thought that was Musk that was doing that with them, with his rockets that he designed. If I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong.
I don't know, but this Starlink works pretty damn good. It's really nice, Clark.
This is just a real nice surprise.
Yeah.
That Starlink is a quality item.
Now, would you go fall in love with that now, Doc?
Yeah, no.
Tell us what you really think there, Doc.
That's the reason I'm getting reliable internet now. That's for sure.
Hell yeah. So, with all of this, we got down this crazy rabbit hole just from the Lizardman of Scape or Swamp.
That's right.
And I don't think it's really that far of a stretch down the rabbit hole. Hey, we got a super sticker from Robert Miller. Hey, brother, thank you so much, man.
Thank
That
you,
is awesome, brother.
Appreciate you, man. You're the man, brother.
Blonzaboo says NASA, the boy who the Exorcist movie was made after, who had the exorcism, the boy went on to grow up and work for NASA and installed the windows for the Challenger that exploded in the 80s.
That demonic kid. See?
Yeah.
See what he did?
All right.
It's all a setup.
It's a conspiracy, I tell you.
It is. They ain't got no gas in it. That's why.
All the crap that used to be conspiracy theories is starting to get moved into current events.
Well, any conspiracy if it's true.
That's
a
right.
fact. I think if we can officially start removing our tinfoil hats on some of this stuff, because it's not that big of a leap based on stuff that they're starting to release.
Well, I gotta, not to get on the movie thing, and we're not going. I think the best movie and nobody's gonna agree with me, is the one that Mel Gibson did.
Signs?
Yeah, I thought.
I think it's a fantastic movie.
I thought that movie was
wonderful.
Was just
swing away, Merle.
Right, straight on point. Like it was realistic enough to where you sat there, you were so intrigued. And then who said that? Swing away.
Swing away, Merrill.
Wait,
That was
Yeah.
Mel Gibson's line.
I mean,
You know, it's funny you mentioned that movie because the aliens were afraid of
Look-
water.
and
But
they look.
one
they
of
look
the
like
things that
lizards.
people talk about one of the reasons why aliens would come here is because they needed our resources.
Right.
Look at current events right now. We've been getting quite a bit of moisture around here. It's not like it hasn't been raining, yet the Mississippi River is lower than it's been in more than 100 years. They're finding Civil War shipwrecks that they didn't know where they were at. And that's not just in the United States. In Indonesia, they're talking about rivers being at record lows. Why is it that all over the world people are reporting record lows on fresh water?
Ain't the
Yeah.
Euphrates going dry too?
Yeah, the Euphrates is going dry.
That's crazy.
Where's
Yep.
all the fresh water going? It's not like we've been in a drought.
Well,
Y'all need to read Revelations. Just
I
say
can tell you, Florida, we got enough water here because we got water coming out of our ears here. It's been
Doc.
raining and raining.
Doc, I felt like Captain America in the first Avengers movie when you said that, because I was just like, I understood that reference.
I got that right.
Everybody
Creeper
wants us to get
Scripted
a
Paranormal
movie
says
show
we're
together.
having record floods here in Australia. Well, we could use a little bit of that up here because the Mississippi
Florida.
River is, as Hank Williams Jr. says, the Mississippi River, she's going dry.
Well, Florida, we got so much rainfall we usually get rainfall in the summertime where it lasts us for the year. We got it in the winter for some reason. Right after summer, like springtime for you guys, but it's crazy because I live right by a lake. If Lake Weir, where I live by, is low, then we know we have a drought. But that thing's been up, and it's crazy because the rainfall here, like I said, it's nuts.
yeah.
I mean, Lake Mead's also drying up. That lake needs some water.
Where was that lake in? Where was it? Arizona or Las Vegas? They were
Yeah,
That's,
finding
that's Lake
bodies.
Mead, yeah.
Yeah, they were finding bodies in cars and shit
Lake
from the
Mead,
50s from the mob.
In barrels,
Yeah.
55-gallon drums.
Yeah, from the mob. They were finding bodies popping up, drums stuck in the mud.
Yeah,
They're
they're
gonna
going
find Jimmy
to
Hoffa
wind up
before they're with.
finding what's his name, John Gotti.
Well, eventually
Jimmy
they're going to
Hoffa.
end up finding a B-29 at the bottom of that damn lake.
You
That's
never
true.
know.
There is a
Oh, look,
B-29
they
down
found-
there.
They found Jimmy Hoffa.
Yeah, there we go. Jimmy Hoffa. I didn't mean Gotti. That's who I was talking about.
John Gotti,
He died.
John
in
died
Gotti.
prison.
Yeah, we know.
he
where
died
he's
in a
at.
much more brutal way.
Yeah, he died from throat cancer in prison. Yeah.
Yeah, he died here in Springfield. I knew two of
Yeah.
the guys that guarded him. When he
I
was in
lived down the
hospital.
road. I lived right down the street from him growing up, man.
Steve
Queens.
Patton says they've also found several Viking ships along the Mississippi banks. That's
Yeah.
true. They found one just outside Memphis.
Yep.
And they actually just found a ship. They think it's a ship haul here in Florida on the beach. Did you see that
Nice.
in the news? It was
No,
on the
I haven't
beach.
seen that.
The beach started eroding. All the sand was washing away, and they found this. Looks like a wood hull. They're doing an investigation on it. They think it's back from the 1600s, 1700s. It's crazy.
That's awesome. Mark Napier says if you want to talk about movies, Battle Los Angeles is a great one, and the resources the aliens are after is
Yeah,
our
that
water.
was a good movie.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
But
Hey.
we have to save that for our show. We can't talk about it here.
Yes.
There we go.
Hey, we need to get Doc in on that too.
Yeah, we do. Doc's got to be. You're right, Doc. Look like you got to.
All right, then.
All right.
Guys, you just
All
pick
right,
a
man.
night. You can use this StreamYard. I've got the pro level. I mean, you've already got the infrastructure in place. It's not going to cost you guys a cent to do a show. All you got to
Get
do is
Noah
set
to
it up
come
and
on.
log it
Noah
in.
loves his movies and stuff like that.
I don't
Right,
watch a
Noah?
lot of movies, man. What?
Yes, sir. I do.
You. No,
Like
you,
me some
you know
mustard
your
and
stuff about
biscuits.
movies and Marvel movies and stuff.
I mean, yeah, the movies that I do watch, but like,
What?
I don't watch a lot of movies and TV,
No,
man.
have-
Oh, stop
Have you
it.
ever
We
watched
know what you
Tombstone?
do.
What was that, Doc?
Have you ever watched Tombstone?
Tombstone? Oh, hell yeah.
All right,
Okay.
Great
You
movie.
can stay.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can stay.
He can live.
He's
We'll allow this.
We'll allow it.
Yeah, I'm watching Man of Interest now. Remember that show?
No.
You don't remember that show?
I ain't seen it.
The former special ops guy, and now there's a computer out there that tracks everything, all the people that are going to do bad stuff, and I don't know. It's pretty. I'm watching it on season 2 right now. It interests me. So
Sounds like
Man, I'm
freaking
interested.
burn notice.
I ain't never
But-
seen it.
nothing could beat Yellowstone.
I have
That's
not
right,
watched that yet.
What?
Robbie,
I have
Robbie
not seen a
Rip
single
Reigns.
episode. Been trying
Noah,
to talk the wife into watching it.
Noah, get up off that chair. Go find a leather belt and go whip your father right now.
There's only one rule on the channel.
Talk to the wife. Right? She's
No
been the
fighting
one that's been
on the channel.
resistant.
If you want to fight, you fight Anthony.
That's it.
Hey, man, listen.
Like
You
like
gotta-
in the ranch.
I know his weakness. I'll just toss crayons at him.
That's it.
Oh, hey, there you go. Yeah.
Like,
Boy, we have totally derailed, man. I mean, this is like
Yep. I mean, it's a certainty, you know.
Yeah, and it's an
We made it a
inevitability.
shockingly long time on topic
we
before
did.
we
We
did
did
it.
stay on
Yes.
topic for a record amount of time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
an hour and a half. That is, I'm proud of
everybody
us.
loves
Yeah.
when we derail.
It's
All
usually-
the comments.
Usually,
Everybody-
me and Anthony are bad, but usually, if me and Doc are on the same show,
yeah.
it usually deviates pretty quick.
You could see DA do this. DA gets like this. When me and Robbie go at it, when you were in here, Doc, he'd be like this.
He ain't wrong. I'll be like, all
He's
right,
like-
I'll let these guys get
And I
it
know
out
what
of
he's
their
saying.
system.
He's like, all right, you fuckers, what are you doing?
I always watch for the little private chat thing to pop
Yeah,
up.
me too.
I look at that. I'll say that.
Back
I'll say
on
that
topic,
little,
guys.
Hey, man.
notification. I'm like, we just got in trouble.
I keep an eye on it just occasionally to make sure that one of you guys isn't be like, "Hey, Noah, shut the up, bro."
We don't
Since
even
we're off
speak-
topic anyway, this would be a real good time to mention the affiliate program we have with Scallywag Tactical. If you guys are unfamiliar with Scallywag Tactical, they're featured heavily in my books. I think most of us here have either got at least one of their blades or are familiar with them. Scallywag is a veteran-owned company. They're a fantastic group of guys. Craig Burhart, the owner, is just an absolutely awesome dude.
Right.
I can shoot the guy a text at weird hours, and he texts me back almost immediately. The guy must be as big an insomniac as I am, but they have just amazing blades. I have got a pretty serious collection of theirs, and there are a few others I want to get. I want to complete my collection.
Yeah, I just ordered the one of the what's that one that looks like the Bowie knife? Can't think of the name.
The Gunner's Mate.
Yes, just ordered
Yeah,
that.
that is that is one of my favorites. Let me find that one. I will show that rascal off.
I just
Hey,
ordered
DA,
it.
I want to show
Yeah.
you something I just got. My buddy Dan sent it to me.
What you got there, Doc?
I don't have anything cool that I just got. I have a revolver at my desk.
Ooh,
Oh, you got a Sayok.
ooh,
Oh,
that's
that's
nice.
You got to get. Oh, we got to get me one of them. Oh,
Where did
I
he
want
get
one.
that? He made it?
Winkler knives.
Winkler knives.
Huh.
That's a Sayok tomahawk.
like Henry Winkler.
You might.
This
you might
is the
see
Gunner's
these
Mate.
in the
That's the one
books.
I ordered.
And
I just
DA's
ordered
put
that.
these in his books too. DA's
Yes,
put
I
these
have.
Daniel Winkler knives. He's up in North Carolina.
Isn't that like the same, almost like the same tomahawk he used in the, what's his name used in the show? That Navy.
Terminal
In
list.
the terminal list. That is
Yeah.
exactly the
That's
same
that's
one.
exactly the one.
Yeah.
Those
that's
are
what he used
Sayok
in the
tomahawks.
show.
I want them to read some of the books and maybe give me one. That would just be awesome.
I will talk to Dan about that.
All right. Yeah, because I can't afford one. That's a fact. But yeah, we are now a Scallywag affiliate here on the channel. And everything we get that goes through the affiliate program goes back into the channel to help us, pay for the StreamYard and for materials for the show. But we're a Scallywag affiliate. If you use that link right there, or if you just go to scallywagtactical.com, either one, at checkout, use the discount code DARoberts10 for 10% off your entire order. And that's just, you are not going to be disappointed with these blades.
No.
They are some of the best knives I've ever freaking owned, and I have
can
owned a lot of
contest to
knives in my
that.
time.
I mean, the one that DA bought, the DA gave me a gift about, I would say, close to a year. And he got me the flip out. And this thing, I've cut so much stuff with it that I have a Benchmate. That's it right
This one
there.
here.
Right. I have a Benchmate and I cut, I don't know, 2-3 things with, and it went dull. This thing I cut constantly with. It's in my pocket all the time, and it's sharp as a friggin' razor.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah. David
And I'm
David By came to my class in Wichita, Kansas, and he had one of those ones like you have too, Anthony. And man, that is a great freaking knife, dude.
Oh yeah. I couldn't
Great.
believe the steel on it and the sharpness of it.
Richard Cox has a good testimonial here. He says, Scallywag rules. I'm a disabled former Army aviator, and I took my Orca knife to an American Legion meeting, and the boys tried to roll me for it.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. And the knife he's talking about is this one right here. It's called the Orca.
Yep.
And it's made from the same steel as the one that Anthony has that he's talking about. This knife will hold an edge like nothing, like nobody's business.
Robbie, am I lying?
fantastic
Robbie
knife.
has one.
Yeah,
It's a locking knife, and you can see here on the sides of the handle right here. That's how you release the knife. It is a very secure knife. It's not going to come open in your pocket and cut you open, because I've had some cheap knives that came open in my pocket when I try to stick my hand in to get my keys and I'd slice open a finger. I've done that 100 times.
My benchmate did it.
He did it pretty nasty one time at Price Cutter, and that was really funny.
DA.
And by really funny, I mean terrifying.
The Orca is on sale right now for $12.
Yep.
Yeah, $12.
$12.
You cannot beat that
No.
for $12.
And I'll put that against any Benchmade, any other knife that's out there. I mean, his quality, like I said, and we're not hyping it up because, and I'm not, I swear.
Craig's a good dude, man.
I've had some knives, and I used to get knives, free knives all the time being in the gun industry. And Doc will tell you that too. When you're in the gun industry, you get stuff handed to you. Hey, try this, try that, try this. This is probably the best quality cutlery I've ever used at all. I mean, hands down.
My Orca has become my everyday carry that I with my uniform at work. That's the one I carry every day now.
If I have pants on, I've got a Scallywag knife in my pocket.
My Benchmade, I paid $120 for. Okay, I gave it to John. I'm like, here you go. I didn't even want it.
My Orca replaced. I had a Kershaw that I carried every day. It replaced my Kershaw. Kershaw is not a bad knife. Kershaw.
There was a Benchmade, but this thing blew it out of the water. I mean,
they're great blades.
They are. I don't know what he does to them. I mean, it's got to be the carbon and the steel, because it is a stainless steel base blade, but it could be a high intensity of carbon. I don't know. We don't know his process, but that thing.
Doc, correct me if I'm wrong, but Craig was a former Naval Spec War, right?
I don't know if he was Spec War or not, but I know he was Navy. I don't know what specialty branch he was in or not.
Either way, Scallywag Tactical is a veteran-owned company, and I am big on supporting our veterans.
He's a great guy, man.
Just an absolute fantastic guy. And speaking of veteran-owned businesses and awesome guys, this would also be a great time to mention another sponsor here at the channel. I've been a long-time sponsor, actually since the beginning. I think I'll let a certain pocket-sized Doc tell us about some of his good products, and I will throw the discount code up. Doc, take her away, my brother.
Man, y'all need to go over to darkangelmedical.com. Check out our wide range. We have myriad kits, whether it's a basic first aid or a major trauma first aid kit. And if you use one of our kits to save someone's life, then we will replace whatever you've used absolutely 100% free of charge. And that is called our Kit for Life Guarantee. So go over there, check out our kits. If you want to get training, we have training classes all over the United States. We got our 2023 schedule up on the calendar right now. Go check it out. We would love to have you as a student in class, love to have you as a customer, and support this very small business with a very big heart, because we truly love what we do. And it is something I'm very proud of that we've been doing for well over a decade now. So y'all go check out darkangelmedical.com. And if you use the code CRYPTID25, that is the biggest discount code we give. That's a 25% off discount code. Yeah. Costs have gone up on everything. If y'all hadn't been to the grocery store or the gas station, and you don't know what I'm talking about, but if you have, then you do know what I'm talking about. And we've absorbed those costs so we can try to keep good kits going out to good folks every single day.
Absolutely.
Blondes and Booze. Doc, do you ever do classes in Missouri? We have never done a class in Missouri. However, if you want us to come to your neighborhood and do a class, we are 100% host dependent. All you got to do is shoot me an email to Carrie@darkangelmedical.com. Tell me you want to host us a class. You get us a venue. We'll lock down the dates, and we will come there and we will teach y'all a class and get the medical learn on. Because right now, medical training is one of the most relevant and timely bits of training you can get to increase your survivability and the survivability of those you care about.
Another great thing about both Dark Angel Medical and Scallywag Tactical is they both have YouTube channels with extremely informative information. If you can't get a class, you can learn a lot of basic first aid and how to use tourniquets things like that on Dark Angel's video series on their YouTube channel. Fantastic videos. I've been to a lot of these first responder level first aid training classes many times, and I still go watch Doc's videos on tourniquet application, because you gotta keep that stuff fresh in your head. When you want to have that knowledge readily accessible in your brain, because when you need it, you don't want to like stop and go, okay, what do I do? Get that training. And if you can't get to one of those training classes, go to the YouTube channel and check out some of those awesome videos. Again, darkangelmedical.com, and use the discount code at checkout, cryptid25, for 25% off your order. And if in the comments, if you put Wild Hunt or codename Wild Hunt or DA Roberts or something like along those lines,
it's Wild Hunt. If you put that in order notes, we'll throw a Team Odin patch on your kit for you.
There you go.
Another thing that comes with those kits, the little pocket index thing that you got, Doc.
The TACMed tip card.
Yes.
This card right here.
Yeah. That one. When I got my kit,
that stays in my wallet.
Well, I had two. One's in my trauma pouch, and the other one, DA. I'm sure you've used this mode of keeping information in your patrol car. The little overhead light that's got the little lip on it.
Yeah.
Up right there. So if I ever need it, all I do is look up and pull it right down. It gives you the little step-by-step stuff that not step-by-step, but the main things that you need to do, just because you get in a situation like that, sometimes things just, leave you. So it's handy, and Doc's thought about stuff like that to put that stuff in there.
Absolutely, man. And study it before you need it. Because the time you need it is the time you need to be reactive and not be sitting there thinking about something. You've got to act quickly and decisively. And I can't emphasize it enough, man. Get these kits, get these training. It could be the difference in somebody dying. And it's something that we stand behind and something we're passionate about. And it's been my driving passion in the last over decade now. I started working with Magpul doing this, and then went on to SIG, and then started my own business. And so it's something that y'all need to get. Everybody ought to have one. If you don't have one, remedy that situation. Use that Crypto25 coupon code and get it. It's a great Christmas gift. And if y'all get your orders in before, I want to say the 15th, hopefully, depending on Postal Service, UPS, we'll be able to get it out to you.
Just here and there, 66 asked what the discount code was for Scallywag again. It's DA Roberts 10, no spaces, all caps.
Yeah, I see that up there for you. I didn't know if you've seen it.
Right now, y'all go to Scallywag's site, man. They are running some killer crazy deals on their website right now. So go ahead and load up on some stuff.
Some of those knives that are like $12 and $15 are going to be discontinued soon.
Yeah.
Oh, and also our kits, if you have a FSA or HSA account, our kits are FSA, HSA eligible. So if you got dollars left over in your HSA, FSA account, it is eligible for that. So go ahead and get those orders in, and tell your friends, tell your family, spread that website and that coupon code out there.
So completely unrelated, I just want to share something that I was just sent that will probably hurt a few of you gun owners in here. But everyone, I want you guys to just take a quick look at this.
What is that? A Glock?
That's a
Let's see.
Glock. I don't know if you
Yeah.
can see right here.
What they do?
Where?
I don't know, but that is one hell of a misfeed.
It looks like a double feed.
What the hell? Is that standing straight up?
Yep.
Looks like, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's facing down. Oh, what
the
the
hell?
hell? How did they do?
Yeah, that's gonna be fun to clear.
How did they do that?
Oh my god, that's like letting an orc get a hold of your Glock, man.
That's a
I don't
that
even
is
know
a
how that's possible. How is that
that's a
possible?
failure to load. Failure. Yeah, that
That would be
you're
like
gonna have to-
having that's like having a burr on his ramp.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah,
That's
he's-
a massive burr.
Well, he needs to check his ejector. He needs to check his extractor. He
Yeah.
needs to check his feed ramp and his magazine because that's
this
Yeah.
is the picture I got.
I would
sent.
basically
That's-
rebuild a lot of the springs on that. I was a Glock armorer.
that's
Yeah, I would have to tap that out in a vise, and then I would replace most of the guts of that Glock.
Yeah, that's a whole lot of stuff going on there.
Ugh.
So ejector,
Dave said he's seen a
extractor,
Beretta
feed
do
ramp,
that.
mag, everything.
Dave goes, I've seen a Beretta M9 do that.
I
Yeah,
have
but Beretta M9, you got better luck throwing the ammo out.
I was about to say a Beretta
I know.
M9 will jam every third round. Like,
Don't even
Actually,
get me started on
only
the
with
Beretta.
let me correct that because I carried one for several years as aircrew only with the checkmate mags, the Italian mags and the Metgar mags, which are made in Italy.
Right.
Those things are solid. The biggest problem you see with a semi-automatic pistol or any semi-automatic firearm is the magazine. That's going to be the biggest. That's going to be the
Yeah.
biggest failure point right there. So check your mag springs, check your mag feed lips, and then if that's good to go, check your extractor, check your ejector, check your feed ramps to make sure that stuff's going on. I'm kind of on this stuff, so I know a little bit of what I'm talking about.
Doc, a
Yeah,
problem
no, I'm
that a lot
saying.
of people don't realize is when they have their guns and they just have the mags sitting around and they keep them continuously loaded, and that spring's continuously under pressure.
Right.
People don't realize that those springs lose tension over
Yeah.
time. And how often is it recommended that you unload your mags and leave them unloaded once every month or so?
Once every quarter is what we recommend
Yeah.
is to swap your mags out on your carry guns
Yeah.
and things like that. And so that's a big problem you see. And also if you can disassemble your mags, swab out all the grit and crap down in there that can cause that. I've seen
Yeah.
those kind of failures with every single manufacturer out there.
Yeah, people don't do that, Doc. I mean,
And
they don't have that. They don't have that knowledge of taking.
Right.
That was the first thing. You take the mag apart, clean it because it will jam on you. The mag won't feed properly.
I've got over 10,000 rounds through my Beretta 92 that I got right after my son was right the day before my oldest son was born 31 years ago. And now I've had over 10K through that thing. I've never had a malfunction except for when my sister-in-law shot it. And like Steve Payton just said, she lint rested it.
Yeah.
You take the inertia out of the slide. And if you see people shooting non-dominant hand, you'll see them take the inertia out of the slide and it'll cause a malfunction. And then you're in a world of hurt.
You bet that's true.
Just saying. So anyhow.
Brought to you by Dark Angel.
Yeah, I teach people how to put holes in stuff and how to patch holes up.
Exactly.
It works for a significant
Yeah.
gun company.
Right.
Very
I think-
significant. Yeah.
I think
Significant.
all of us with the knowledge that we've had.
Big.
Yeah.
Significant.
Between me, Robbie, DA, and Doc, I mean, we could probably, brainstorm something wrong with the gun.
Yeah, you gotta check all your pieces and parts out your gun because it's machinery, and if you don't have your parts going right, that machinery is gonna fail. Just like a human body, if all the parts ain't going right, the whole machine is gonna fail.
Well, I gotta say, we're at 143, and we're almost 2 hours into it. That's pretty awesome. Thank you,
That is
everyone.
Thank y'all.
Awesome.
Been a great
That
show.
is like
Thank you guys.
crazy.
But
We're
you know
getting.
what? I don't think we're really done quite yet, fellas. Are you?
No, I'm good.
I think I got another half hour and an hour in me.
I'm good.
I'm good.
I got half a finger's worth left of my blueberry old fashioned. So
I'm sad.
I'm not making you another one.
Robbie, you
Phil will
working
be
tomorrow?
right back,
You off?
guys. He's keeping his dad
What,
liquor.
Anthony?
You working or you off tomorrow?
I'm working.
Oh boy.
Same here. I'm working. It's that time of year. I'm working every freaking day, like 10, 12 hours a day.
Yeah, how's that going, man? How's business? Is it booming now since Christmas, or?
Well, business is I wouldn't say it's booming, but it's going, it's steady and it's busy, and I'm blessed, I'm fortunate, and I'm thankful.
That's all you. That's all you can ask for, man. That's it.
Amen to that. Just keeping the lights on right now, so I'm very happy for that.
You.
Keep on keeping on.
And Mr. DA, with the book sales, how's it going? We haven't really talked that much, all of us.
Saw a bit of a surge after the appearance on Coast to Coast.
Good.
Really?
I'm liking that.
Nice.
I was getting the day after the appearance at Coast to Coast, when I was still at the convention, I was getting notifications from my website hosting service, WordPress. I was getting notifications from them constantly that my website hits were through the roof.
Nice. What time did that come on, man? I couldn't find it. I was going to listen to it.
Between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. Sunday morning.
I couldn't find it. And
I shared the link on my Facebook pages. It's now archived. You can watch it on the archives, but you got to subscribe to the Coast to Coast. I couldn't find it live either. I tried when I was on.
I'm not. I like his show. I do like his show. His show's really good.
I love that show.
I love his show, but
Steve Patton says I got 8 hours, so I got all night. I got 8 hours in me, but we'll go a bit longer.
No, this is not.
I'm the one that does 8-hour streams.
Yeah, we're not doing the Jerry Lewis telethon here. No,
we've done 5 hours in the past.
Yeah,
that's been a hot minute.
Every night, save for Wednesdays and Saturdays, which is when he's live.
Right.
Every night, save for those nights, I am live for 6 hours at least. So
I think the longest I ever went with your dad was close to 4 hours. We went one night.
Yeah, I think it was around 4.
It was with just me, your dad, Doc was on, and we had, I think it was Jesus. Wasn't it Jesus we had on?
I think so.
I think so, yeah.
We went almost 4 hours that night. And then Robbie popped on. I think that was it. He just joined the crew. Yeah, that was a long time.
We did
it goes by quick. It goes by fast.
We did a 3-hour show a couple months ago, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you don't realize it. It's like these 2 hours flew by quick because we were just talking away, but you don't realize how fast.
When you get 5 of us jabberjaws together, it tends to be filled full of talking.
True, very true. Yeah, I was like, I'm looking at the comments.
And Tombstone, thank you for throwing our website on the podcast, and same to Blondes and Booze.
Yeah, he's a moderator.
Yeah, the moderators have been on it tonight. They're on.
Yeah, he's been on. He's been on point, man. He has been.
Tombstone. Now, next time I'm down in Sydney, we'll have to go for some dimmies. You reckon?
Yeah, he's been on it, man. He's a good dude.
Tomb's always on it.
He is. Yep.
Speaking of Tomb, I'm putting together an all-star cast. Sometime after the beginning of the new year, we're going to do a Dogman Around the World show. Tombstone is going to join us. I've got another guy named John Kershaw from Australia, who's a Dogman researcher, and Leon Howarth, if you guys remember him, that has been on the show from just outside Manchester, England. We're going to have a veritable UN of Dogman researchers on the show that night. It's going to be Dogman Around the World, and we're going to have some Australians and some English folks, and it's going to be an interesting night.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it will be. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be a great show.
We just get to meet Tombstone. That's even cool. We don't even know what he looks like.
Well, I don't want to give away his real name in case he doesn't want to, but it was kind of ironic when I found out his first name. Tracy Converse says, do you have a discount code for Scallywag? Yes, I do. It's DA Roberts 10. Let me throw that back up there real quick. Let me find it.
Tombstone says, I'll come say good day. Yeah, Tomb, I had a buddy in two commando down there. He's like, I've got a house in Sydney and Adelaide, and so come down here and we'll get some dimmies, mate.
What's that?
Dimmies, it's like little fried dumplings.
Oh,
hey, that sounds good.
That's my best attempt at an Aussie accent. So
Tombstone put My real name? Question mark.
He doesn't have a real name. His real name
It's
is
just Tombstone.
Tomb.
Oh, we got a bot.
There they
Sick 'em,
go.
Oh,
sick
there
'em,
it is.
folks.
Sex find info. Oh God, here we go.
Oh yeah,
Sick 'em.
everyone's favorite.
Hey, you know-
Yes.
But we've gone 2 hours without these.
I know who it is.
Dirtbags
It's
coming
Brandy.
in.
That's Brandy doing it. I know it's you, Brandy.
Dude, my favorite way to find that sort of thing is a
Yes.
site simply titled "Sex Find."
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
The
totally
mods
not a
were all over that,
virus.com.
I don't know who blasted them, but they beat me to the punch. I was trying to block them, and they were already blocked.
Them
Totally
blonde and
not a
blues,
virus.com.
they get crazy.
Oh yeah. You gotta find all the sexes. Yeah, collecting them like Infinity Stones.
We're looking
Blue
for
Crossroads says, I suggest you look up Edda Dorfa book about underground world access through Kentucky cave system. Very interesting. Dude, I have totally got to get that book. I am down. That sounds pretty interesting. You know, there have been some of the Bigfoot sightings that have been reported them as having scaly skin, which makes me wonder if that could be just another reptilian sighting.
I mean, we've talked in the past about Bigfoot sightings being different creatures that weren't Bigfoot. So I mean,
yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're fine. Your
brain had a path and it ran for it. You know.
Well, you are my kid.
But yeah, I mean, like we've discussed the possibility of like these different sightings of Bigfoot being a Gugway or being a Dogman or being this or being that, and it's like, I mean, with all the information about these different creatures coming to light, I mean, like it could entirely be an instance in which I saw Bigfoot, but he was scaly and had webbed feet. It could be just like, oh, well, okay, they're talking about a lizard man instead of a Bigfoot.
Well, the one by me, the one over here that they got the tracks in the Ocala forest, is well known for the 3-toe tracks. That's one of them that they got. I mean, and it's big. It's about maybe 14 inches long, and it's by the bombing range here in Ocala. It's not just one track. I mean, they have numerous tracks they casted. Are they real? Don't know. I mean, really. So.
Yeah. Richie Harris's best reptilian story I've ever heard is called Hawk 29er, and it's written by Richard Cox in this group. Richie, shoot me the link on that. I would like to read that myself. Toshi the Wolf says, yeah, haven't some of the swamp ape sightings of Bigfoot mentioned them having scales?
No. Okay. I've heard of that.
Yeah, as far as my almost 100 tabs of research go at this point, I'm not seeing a lot of them outside of the Carolinas, or even more loosely the Appalachian region. Like I've seen some that bleed a little bit over into West Virginia, but nothing really. Like just like alleged sightings. That's all I'm really finding. So I mean, like down in Florida, that's a whole different animal. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, yeah. And Richard, Ocala. Where is Ocala State Park? It's right off of State Road 40 in Ocala. So it's pretty big, Rich. Actually, I live a mile down the road. Actually, yeah, the part of the park is by me. I can walk to it out in the woods. So, yeah.
DA, there's your what Richard said about those stories.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Yeah, I would love to check it out when they're published, man. Or if you've got any if I can help in any way with that, shoot me an email. DARoberts@DARoberts.net. I'm not exactly Stephen King, but I'm happy to help you to get where I'm at.
You know,
He's not Stephen King. He's Kevin Sting.
that's it. He's Tom Clancy. Like I said, Tom Clancy of Cryptid.
Cryptids.
Thank you, guys. Those are some big shoes, though.
The
I
state
thought he was
park
a little
over
fella.
here.
What happened to the
Richie-
little doc, man? Did he
He
just
went. I don't know. He went MIA. Richie, the state park. Some areas are swampy.
The box must have fell out of his seat. He's trying to jump back up in his chair.
Oh, yeah. His little high chair, yeah.
Some are dry, mostly dry. A lot of sugar sand down the trails. So it's not like northern Florida or South Florida where it's all wet. I mean, South Florida where I hunted, it was solid wet. Everything was wet. I mean, we have our areas here in the Ocala Forest that are wet, but not as much.
Fortunately, around Missouri, we don't have a lot of swamplands.
You do down near the Arkansas border in some places.
Well,
Anthony,
I mean,
a related question there. Are there a lot of UFO sightings around the Ocala?
Yes, there is. Especially by the naval bombing range. There have been a lot in the past.
So that would toe right in with the Scape or Swamp.
Yeah.
The Lizardman type Bigfoot sightings near a military base with UFO sightings.
mhm.
Yeah.
You
It's-
said the ones down there in that area have been recorded with 3-toed feet.
Yeah, the past 5 years now, it's been a lot. There've been a lot of sightings.
Hey, man, I didn't say that Missouri didn't have swamps. I said we didn't have a lot of swamps.
Yeah, we
No,
do
they
have
don't.
some.
Richie. They don't.
It's mostly hill.
They don't have handicap roads with yellow markers down here out in the forest. I'm sorry, man. They don't have that. I know you're handicapped. I'm sorry, man. But hell, you jump in my truck, we'll go. Don't worry about it. I got it set up already for it.
Hell yeah.
I didn't waste any time when I bought it. That thing is ready to rock and roll down some sugar sand trails. Trust me.
So
All right, Dan.
there's a naval base then in that area, and you're seeing UFO lights. We know there's an Air Force base near Scape or Swamp, and there's
Well, the bombing
Lizardman type
range.
sightings there.
It's a naval bombing range that we have.
Naval bombing range.
Right.
Are there any cave systems in that?
Yes. We have cave systems here in Bellevue area, Ocala. Not a lot, but we have some. We have some freshwater spring caves that they go
And
diving in.
Ocala is a national forest, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're hitting check boxes all across the field. We've got
Yeah.
a national forest, which checks the missing 411. We've got
Yep.
military base nearby. We've got UFO sightings in the sky. We've got cryptid sightings, some of them with 3 toes and reported with scales, and a cave system in the area. Holy crap!
Yeah, I've never looked into the disappearance. How many people disappeared in the Ocala forest? I can get that info, no problem. I've never really looked into it, man. I bet you there's a lot. But yeah,
Chairman Meow says there's caves along the Mississippi too. Missouri is known as the cave state. There is just tons of caves here.
yeah, we have caves here. Not a lot. A lot of springs. A lot of spring caves. You walk down into the cave and it's natural spring, crystal clear, and they dive them. And then we have
Yep.
other caves you can walk through.
Well, that Silver Spring right outside Ocala, that
Yeah.
has a massive underground spring that is coming up from a cave system. And if these things are subterranean and aquatic
Oh,
because
yeah.
of the webbed toes and feet, that would be an easy
Bro,
access point.
I'll
right
take you there. When you guys come down, I'll take you guys out there. They have glass bottom boats
there.
that you can ride.
Glass bottom boats, you make
and you
the
can also
rock and
walk
roll
through the
go
park.
round.
And that's where we had those monkeys.
Mhm.
And no one realized those monkeys swim when they put them on that island out there. So now we got them all over Ocala, those Mayak monkeys. So
Doc, I saw you about snarf coffee there.
So y'all got aquatic monkeys,
yeah,
swamp apes,
yeah,
and all kind of lizard folks down there.
yeah. Basically,
Yeah.
Well, I
Bigfoot.
mean, it's
And
Florida.
if you Google
I mean,
Florida, man, God knows what you're gonna find.
Right, yeah. I mean,
And you got Florida man.
Bro,
Everybody likes to retire to Florida, Doc.
Yeah.
Bro.
And they
I
got
was
John Combs
watching-
used to be a small Air Force base at Walnut Ridge, Arkansas. There was another one at Blytheville, too, that they shut down.
Yeah, I was watching a documentary on the Python thing down in South Florida, and this was this year. They estimated it. They said by 2025, the population of those breed of pythons, those big pythons that they're catching, are
Burmese.
going to make their way as far up to as Robbie is.
hell no.
Yeah, they're adapting to the cold weather.
And big old no
Where?
rope, Doc.
They start getting up this far, I'm going to start putting snake on the menu.
Nope.
We found them here. They
Nope.
found them in the Ocala forest.
Yeah,
already,
I mean,
but
I
not
know
a
how to
big-
cook snake. I
but
mean,
not a big
listen,
Looks like
population.
snakes back on the
I also
menu,
know how to make
boys.
snake jerky. I know how to make some damn good snake jerky. I'll do it.
No.
It's just a matter of time, man, before they make their way up here. But they estimated by the year 2025,
Them
The
bastards
iguana-
start coming up here.
the iguana population
Negative.
Good.
and the snake population will be up this area and as far as up by where Robbie is.
Yeah, negative, Ghost Rider. I screw a damn snake, man.
Bro, they
Man,
can't control
that.
it. They said it. They
No,
admitted
bro.
it on the documentary. They cannot
Oh, yeah.
control the population
they're-
of these things.
Man,
They're firmly entrenched in
Carry
Florida now.
bombs and miniguns.
all
Yes.
that means is those snakes haven't made it to the Midwest yet. Those snakes start showing up in the Midwest. They give us a kill order. Those things are going to be gone the next afternoon.
You can hunt these things year round here in Florida, and they still can't control the population.
All the freaking Midwesterners are going to be like, wait, hold on. An opportunity to make new jerky? Hold
Yeah.
up. And we're going to start shipping it planet wide. People in Australia are going to be like, ooh, we want some Burmese python jerky. And we're going to be like, all right,
Mhm.
sure, here you go.
Yeah. My wife's like Meg. She's like, aren't snakes beautiful? And I'm like, if they're a belt or some boots,
Yeah, if it's food or clothing.
they're a spawn of Satan, man. If you can climb a tree without arms or legs, you're an aberration of nature.
Speaking of reptiles, how many set of boots you think you could get out of the Lizardman of Scape or Swamp?
We can make boots for all of us,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
and
Hat
some
man.
hat, and some
17
hat
tall?
straps and
No,
belts.
no. Listen. I'm getting a duster made.
Hey, I want the back spine. He's got a back spine. I want that back spine on top of my boots.
There you
That'd be
go.
rad. See? That'd be rad right there.
You got to get a couple of them so you can get the tongue on the end of the boot. As you walk, it goes.
Dragon. I don't do that tongue thing.
Dude, anything with scales, man. If it's got scales, it's going to go to hell. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Negative, Ghost Rider. Pattern is full. Ugh.
Yeah, there's so much
Oh,
stuff
man.
going on. I mean,
So-
I couldn't believe it.
God,
Yeah, we got a lot of crazy shit here in Florida.
Not
Ocala.
like
Oh,
no
yeah.
ropes.
dude,
Nuts
I
and
hate
shit.
Satan
There we go.
Springs. Ugh.
Nutsy. It's
So-
crazy.
If the lizard man is subterranean, what if that first encounter where it charged that kid, what if its intention was to eat that kid?
I mean, that's entirely possible. I mean, you gotta think about how developed it's gotta be for like preying on things. I mean, like
Right.
He jumped like
Yeah.
out of his car and rode his car down the road trying to get to him.
Right.
Yeah.
alligators don't necessarily see humans as prey, but they see them as a potential meal.
Okay. So let's take this back to that story from the Creek Indians, because my wife is about 30% Creek Indian. They call them the redneck Indians down in Mississippi. But let's think about this. If those Creek Indians, they said they were getting taken down to the base of a tree into a hole,
Mm-hmm.
could that have been an opening to a cave?
It would have to have been to stuff 5 guys in without filling up the tree.
I'm just saying.
Doc,
How big was that hollow tree?
If she's the redneck version, that make her the Creek Indians.
I see what you did there. That's good. Yeah.
Oh
Over
man.
to the creek.
He's a Creek Indian.
Crick
She's a
Indian.
Creek Indian. That means she's a redneck.
That's correct. That's
Yeah,
correct.
but like, I mean, like, my thing is like all these artistic depictions of these things, they have forward-facing eyes, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Like every one of them we've seen, they have forward-facing eyes. Have you guys seen an alligator or a crocodile?
Oh yeah.
They don't have exclusively forward-facing eyes, which means one, what the f are alligators seeing as predators?
Right.
But two, why is this thing not seeing them as predators?
Well,
Right.
alligators have to have forward-facing eyes because of when they get lit up
Well,
at night, the eye shine.
Well, I mean, if you look at pictures of them, the eyes aren't entirely facing forward. They can look to the sides.
Yeah, they can, but they have their eyesight is
Stereoscopic.
yeah. It's even the crocodile that when they're underwater they can't see that good with that film over their eyes.
Yeah,
Right,
they've got that strange nictating lens,
Right.
like a
So they
second
proved
eye.
that. They proved that when they're underwater, that you could actually swim right up to one, and they wouldn't even be able to see you. It looks like really blurry and hazy. But they don't consider an alligator is an animal of opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
They don't look at humans as food or anything else. They like to taste. If they taste you and they like it, they're gonna eat you. Plain and simple. And I've hunted most of my life here in the swamps. And let me tell you, they're more afraid of you or you are of them. They'll actually take off and leave you alone. When it comes to mating season, no. You get a bull alligator, he'll come at you.
Well, that still brings up the question of if these things have forward-facing eyes, unlike any other reptilian,
Right.
that begs the question of why do these things not see anything as predators? Like what is evolutionarily their reason for not seeing humans as predators, not seeing alligators as predator, whatever, like these things clearly have evolved to be an apex predator.
Oh, of course.
So,
Of
are they
course.
descended from aliens, or are they descended from dinosaurs?
A lot of dinosaurs were more like birds than they were reptilians, because I mean, like look at velociraptors, man.
Okay,
Like look at the modern
descended from sauropods, not necessarily all dinosaurs.
right.
All right,
I mean,
Dr.
it could
Ross,
be
y'all are getting deep in the weeds on this. So, so let's think about this. If they have scales, they have webbed feet, they're cold-blooded. Most of the sightings are in warmer months.
Politicians, then.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, there you go.
DA hit it. All right, good night,
Yeah,
everybody. We did
ding, ding, ding,
it.
ding.
All right,
Just
and
resolved.
there's
Join us
our one
Saturday.
political comment for the night. Bye,
Yeah.
everybody.
Join us Saturday night when we'll have DA talk about politics.
Nightbot's going to get you, DA.
politics. I wasn't
Nightbot-
mentioning a party. I mentioned politicians in general.
Oh, I thought you said Republican. I'm sorry.
No,
I
politicians
said the
in
word.
general.
I'm sorry. I
It-
said
it's,
that word again.
it does beg the question, man. I mean, what are they? I mean, if like Noah said, if they got the forward facing eyes, are they apex predators? What made them apex predators? But I'm gonna tell you something. If I see a 7-foot freaking lizard,
Yeah.
that's pretty much a freaking apex predator right there, brother.
There's
Yeah.
one thing that I have to say. If I see a 7-foot tall bipedal lizard in front of me, and that word is mag dump.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. For sure.
I am emptying every round and probably reloading.
I'm gonna go Winchester as fast as I can. You hear me? So it's
And that lever.
yeah, it's something to think about, but because I don't want to get dragged down their subterranean lair, their lizard cave, or whatever the hell it is.
Imagine if they're just cool dudes, though, right? They just drag you down there because they want a friend, you know?
That's it. That's it, Noah. Good
You
thinking.
get dragged down there and like, hi, sorry we kidnapped you, but like, can we offer you a drink or something? And you're like,
Right.
bro. I don't want no damn struggle with a freaking reptilian. That's for sure. You know, that's for sure. That's nightmare material right there. I mean, and like somebody said, what do you think about dog men versus the 7-foot lizards? I don't know. Throw them and Gugway in the freaking octagon and let's see who comes out on top. So
I might have to have the lizard men be a villain in an upcoming book. But here's the thing: if they are evolved from a sauropod, Are they homeothermic? Do they have a consistent blood temperature?
That's true. That's true. Maybe they're not cold-blooded like we think
Well,
they are.
great white sharks are not true cold-blooded creatures either.
Right. They
So, I
proved
mean-
that. Right. They proved that one already.
Yeah.
So if they're not cold-blooded, they only choose to come out in the warmer months because they want to.
Maybe
Right.
maybe they're doing like a bear and they're fattening up for
And
hibernation.
their
Or
hibernation.
like a crocodile or a big boa constrictor, they don't have to eat that often.
That's true.
Yep.
That's true.
A big meal can last a snake or a croc or an alligator can last it for months.
Yeah. Yeah, they actually let it ferment. They do.
Yeah.
So
Little deer kimchi in their gut.
Yep. Well, I mean that's what the meat lockers that most of these crocodiles and alligators have. That's what they're doing. It, as Crocodile Dundee said, stuffing you under the meat locker for a little tenderizing.
yeah, that's what they do. That puts
Polly
you under a
Vincent says,
log. and
never
leave you
eat
there.
or drink anything offered from the Fae. Would reptilians be different? Probably not.
I mean, they're the reptilians probably aren't trying to steal your identity. It's I probably wouldn't drink it because it's gonna be like the worst toilet grog you've ever had.
Well, look what they do in Vietnam. They drink the blood from a cobra. Was it a cobra?
Yep. Cobra.
Yeah.
I mean, and
A
it's in
cobra
a shot. They make a shot with liquor with it. I'm like, yeah, no, I'll pass.
I've had that snake.
Toshida Wolf says, good point. And when they come out, it's after their last meal was finished. And then we had another comment from Daryl Denton. He says, there's been lizard men seen in the Ohio River.
What?
Or on the Ohio River.
I mean, I was about to say in the Ohio River would be a little hard. We've been over the Ohio
Not
River. And it's
necessarily that
disgusting.
Because if it's got a tail, it can use that as a propulsion for propulsion.
Well, I more
in the
so
water.
meant the sheer amount of pollution in the Ohio. That
Yeah, it
thing's
is a pretty nasty
disgusting.
river. Well, Mississippi's no different.
No.
And the Missouri.
Well, I mean,
really
you
isn't
can
anymore.
see where the Mississippi and the Ohio meet. It's not
Yeah.
it's not that bad.
Yeah, Mark Napier's right. It's cobra blood and venom. Yeah, you're right. In a shot.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
what they drink over there. It's a special shot. Yeah, I'll pass on that.
Oh man.
I
No,
drank
thank you.
some Cobra wine out of a skull one time. That was kind of cool.
Oh,
Like a real skull or like
Yeah.
a novel. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. It was
So-
pretty bad.
What kind of skull, Doc?
It was the skull of a monk. They said it was the cap. It was a buddy of mine's. It was a special forces retirement. So
It was a buddy of mine's skull, he says.
no, it was a buddy of mine's retirement, and
It belonged to a friend, I swear.
it was kind of rad. It tasted like freaking starter fluid. So,
Ooh.
but, yeah.
I was about to say the lizard people are probably making alcohol, like really crude alcohol out of like old alternators and shit.
Here, drink this.
We have fermented something that we like to call alcohol. We
They
know you
call
humans
moonshine
like
rock
this, so
gut
please
liquor.
try this.
Never
It's like
again.
made in the radiator of like an old like 60s car. It's like,
Maybe that's why he jumped on the kid's car. He didn't want the kid.
He wanted the radiator so he
He
could
wanted the
brew more
radiator.
alcohol.
You gonna
Toshi's
get
got a point. I remember reading about this. He says, "Oh wait, didn't the Ohio River have some sort of green-clawed monster attack on some swimmers years ago?" Yeah, that when the lady was able to kick free, she had some sort of green slime on her leg that wouldn't wash off. I remember. I think I watched a documentary on that. Mark Napier says it's supposed to be the skull of your enemy, Doc.
That green slime didn't numb her leg, did it, DA?
I think it did.
Wonder where we've heard that one before.
Right.
Or where did you hear that before?
might have been some inspiration behind that. So, flashing back to the Lizardman of Scape or Swamp, I know we're all around this topic in and out, but how long have the Air Force known about lizard reptilians? Did they know about them when this Air Force guy came forward with blood and scales?
It was to
Or was it
say
something that they just discovered?
it wasn't what they discovered at Roswell.
Well, they say that the ones at Roswell were grays.
I mean, they can say it all they want. Like I mean, we don't have any sort of facts about any of this stuff.
Good
You know what I
point.
mean? So I mean, it could be there could be one alien species that visits Earth. There could be hundreds. Who knows?
There are those that say the reptilians are among us and have been for a long time.
What about
One of them
aliens?
on space.
Yeah, we got enough aliens, okay? Don't need any more. Put the wall up. That's all I gotta say.
Just here and there, 60. Yeah, well, we're going to put the wall around the planet. Just here and there, 66 says as long as they've known about aliens. So I guess they have known about the reptilians for a good long time.
I'm gonna say this, man. There's so much crap out there that they have, swept under.
Oh yeah.
That they know about all this crap, and like the dude that shot the dog man, the truck driver, and then they had the dude and the people in the khakis and GOV come up there and talk to him and question him about things. Are they? Who's to say if they're around these military installations, they're not already a known quantity, and they're being studied, and so it's already a known entity in that area. So, I mean, does that not make sense? Or
yeah,
right.
I don't know.
West Coast Dogman Shane says, aren't reptilians shapeshifters? Yeah, there have been stories about reptilians taking human form.
Well, I mean, then you also got to get into the possibility of there being different types. I mean, like, are all dogs German shepherds? No.
True. I have heard of reptilian sightings where they were cited as being red instead of green.
Yeah, I mean, there could be some that are red. There could be some that are green. There could be some that shapeshift. There could be some that are psychic. We don't know. I mean, look at the difference in humans. I mean, like, the difference in skin colors based off of pigment. It's based off of melanin. Versus like the difference in bone structure is based off of your birth or your heritage rather in relevance to the equator or in relevance to the poles. So I mean, like, who's to say that these lizard people couldn't have like hundreds of different subspecies?
Yeah,
I think there's probably plenty of different kinds of them.
Blondes and Booze podcast. I think that's Krista says, I believe that aliens walk among us but look human. I've heard stories of that. There were people that reported seeing somebody that their eyes would shift for a moment and they would see reptilian slitted eyes.
Do y'all remember the old TV show V?
Yeah.
Yep. Mousy.
May not be that necessarily far-fetched anymore.
Science fiction might be science fact now.
Well, they say that one of the reasons that alien civilization would visit Earth is because they needed needed our resources. What if we're the resource?
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
Or what if we're the science experiment?
Well, it's like Holly Vincent said. She said, we're being studied. We're being studied.
Yeah, that's what I mean. What if we're the science experiment?
Yeah.
There's a video circulating, and I've got to see if I can find it again. But it's supposedly an interview, and I don't know if it's true or not. Again, with any video or any image, you've got to be skeptical. But this video is supposedly our military intelligence interviewing a gray alien, and the gray alien says, "We're not from somewhere else. We're from somewhen else." And that the reason they're here is they're studying us because we're their primitive ancestors.
I think I've seen that video, actually.
That's interesting.
It is a really cool video. Again, can't say if it's true or not, but if it's fake, it's a very compelling fake.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think that there could be multiple different kinds of these lizard people. Like, I mean, like, you have these people you send out for recon, right? So you're in the military, right? Like, you guys were all military, right? You send somebody out for recon, right? They're the ones that infiltrate and figure out, what to do amongst all of the people in that area, right? I'm speaking as generally as possible here, just to make the connection, right? They infiltrate, they figure out, behaviors, they figure out traditions, they figure out this, they figure out that, right? Them in this specific instance would be the ones that could shapeshift. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they report back to the ones that can't. Like, hey, this is how to get around them. This is how you
It's what we call a pattern of life study. If you establish a pattern of life study, you know what people do, what they don't do, what's normal, what's abnormal, and then you do the best you can to fit in.
I just shared a link in the chat. That is that interview I was talking about where they're interviewing a gray alien. Allegedly, this was shot by Project Blue Book back in 1964. The quality of the video looks legit from that time frame. Not necessarily saying you guys need to run off and watch it now, but when you get a second, watch this video because it is freaking bizarre. And if it was somebody made this up, the level of detail is uncanny. It's really kind of terrifying.
And like, even if it is fake, it's unnerving as hell.
Oh yeah, if it's fake, it's somebody thought it out a lot. It's like H.G. Wells level fake. Like somebody thought of crap way ahead of somebody else.
But yeah, I mean, like, it's like that old scam, right?
Yeah.
You do something big enough to get the attention of everyone, they'll never notice the moonwalking bear or whatever,
Right. Yeah.
So and in this instance, like, who's to say that these things are the ones that are shapeshifters, right? Like in theory, like purely in theory, obviously. Like, put on your tinfoil hats here for a second, folks. But who's to say that these ones that are shapeshifting aren't, causing world events?
Noah.
People will shift their focus onto something so that way they can just kind of.
Captain, I can't get her, Captain. There you go. Oh, he's back. What happened?
I think you were lagging out there, Anthony. Yeah, that was.
I was only you. You only froze. No one else froze, man.
Weird.
Well, if I was the only one that froze, that's weird because Dad didn't freeze.
Yeah, we're on the same internet connection.
That's weird. Oh, there goes Doc.
Conspiracy Munder.
But anyways, right? Like, so who's to say that they aren't causing something big to draw attention while the ones that can't shapeshift or anything like that do something relatively like out of their normal spec,
Yeah.
So, I mean, a few hikers go missing or something like that. People go missing in the swamps. And then suddenly, a building catches fire a few miles away.
Blonde and Booze made a good point because I've seen the interview. And it was with Eisenhower that made a pact supposedly with them. I just put it up. That they could take so many humans for technology to give us technology. I mean, is it true? Don't know.
Well, when it comes to people going missing, there's the old phrase, and I don't remember who said it, but it said, you kill one person, it's a tragedy. Kill 1,000, it's a statistic.
He's 1 million.
Yeah, you know what? I was paraphrasing greatly.
How many people go missing every year without a trace?
600,000 people are reported missing a year by NAM US.
Yeah, we talked about that on a couple episodes ago when we were talking about people possibly being a food source for cryptids.
Now, a lot of those are recovered, or they're people that were reported missing and turned up a day or two later. But on an average year, 600,000 people are reported missing every year by NAM US. And that is not including homeless populations or illegals. Because by and large, they don't get reported.
What about what about indigenous people?
Stats on reservations are not publicly available.
There you go.
Right.
There you go. What do I know?
And there's a lot of alien and cryptid activity on reservations. We know that for a fact.
That's correct.
I mean, look what Jesus Payon found on the Navajo reservation. They found a horse that had been killed by having one of its rear legs torn off.
And aren't
they off?
aren't they saying like upwards of 40,000 indigenous women alone every year go missing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not counting, men or children, right? So
I think the Duttons have a lot to do with that. The Dutton Ranch, they have a lot to do with that.
Roger Davis says that Stalin said that. Now, I can't remember who said that quote, but it was like, kill a dozen people, it's a tragedy. Kill a million, and it's a statistic. Yeah, he's absolutely. It's horrifying, but it's true. Well, like the joke that they used to say about travelers, like visitors, tourists visiting Europe. Europeans used to say, "You can kill an American, just don't inconvenience one."
Correct. Correct.
Shane says, "Send him to the train station."
Yeah, that's it, Shane.
Good question.
That's what we keep Robbie around for.
Yep.
Take him to the train
Rip
station.
Raines will take him to the train station for us.
All right, DA, this one's for you.
Gail Drake says, could portals be on reservations? There were portals reported on Skinwalker Ranch. Now, when you watch that series, Skinwalker Ranch, I don't know how much of that is made for TV and how made up for TV and how much of that is legit.
Yeah.
Because any TV show is out there to get ratings.
Mm-hmm.
They make their money through advertisement, and they get that advertisement by ratings. The higher they are in the ratings, the more money they make on advertising. So I can't say anything on the Skinwalker Ranch show should not be taken with anything but a big grain of salt.
Mm-hmm.
However, there is enough weirdness that has gone on in the Skinwalker Ranch that lead me to believe something is happening out there. I just don't know what. And they've talked about portals opening out there. Native American land should never be discounted for not only anything strange and bizarre UFO wise, but just anything anything out of the ordinary, cryptids, portals, apparitions. It's some interesting stories coming off of reservations, and I know enough about Native American lore to not be dismissive of it. Mm-hmm. Even if you don't agree with it, there's always something to a legend. They're like, oh, bullshit, that can't happen. But there is something to a legend. Mark Napier says, question, isn't Dugway on a reservation? Yeah, Dugway Proving Grounds is partially on reservation land.
Dugway sounds like you if you were a Gugway.
Dugway. Yeah. Watch out for the Dugway.
Well, I can't believe we're 2 hours and 37 minutes into it. We're dropping. We got 118 people now.
We still got over 100 people.
I know.
There were also aliens reported over Aberdeen Proving Grounds too.
Yeah.
And I believe over U.S. AMRID. And U.S. AMRID's where the chemical weapons are stored.
That's they do a lot of virology stuff up there too. I had some flight medics and flight nurses in my flight school class that were from USAMRID at Fort Detrick in Maryland. Yeah, so that's a big thing. So what better place to study than what can kill us or what can make us weak? Just saying.
Yeah, I don't.
You can learn a lot. You can learn a lot about a human by dissecting one. Now, I'm not advocating that, but
here we go. Here we go with the cannibalism now. Okay.
Hey,
time for me to fire up the grill.
Long pig.
Dissecting, not sautéing.
Yeah, or like Noah and I were saying, studying a pattern of life.
Right.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they're purely hypothetically, if there were some that could shapeshift. I wouldn't be surprised if they were analyzing our behaviors and trying to figure out the best way for them to integrate themselves into our society, to either overthrow us from the inside or to gain some sort of favor.
Uncle John stated it better. Here, this is for DA. DA's hungry again.
Pretty much, yeah.
Long pork.
He just got home.
Hey,
John just walked in the door.
Every time I get on the show, man, somebody's got to bring up cooking human, and then
Well,
it all.
because you started the trend when you came on about
Hey,
the neighbor cooking the other neighbor.
listen! It cooks like pork, all right?
Right.
That's it. You know, like.
You started the trend, and we went off on the rails with that one that night.
Yeah, listen, all right. Just because I know how to cook people doesn't mean I do cook
There you
people.
go
All right,
again.
I'm not
Now here
Jeffrey
comes all the-
Dahmer.
Now we're gonna get all the crazies and chat now coming out of the woodwork.
All right, guy. All right. Settle down.
Uncle John agrees with you. He said it tastes like pork.
I don't know anything about
Long
tasting
pig.
like pork, sir.
I don't know. I thought it tasted like chicken, but that's okay.
You should add an allegedly before you say tastes like pork, because
I never
then you look
tasted
like a
human.
serial killer.
Just saying, I never tasted human. So
Hold on. I just want to take some pictures.
These guys, it's them, officer.
Sorry, Robbie, we're outside your jurisdiction.
yeah, you can't do nothing there.
Yeah.
Rip.
Take them to the train station.
Yeah, the crazies are
man.
here already. You got that right.
Yeah, I've been here for 2.5 hours.
So
You don't have to be crazy to hang out in this group, but
No.
it helps.
But it helps.
It certainly does, yeah. No, it doesn't cause you any harm.
You're
yeah,
welcome to our merry band of miscreants.
That's right.
that's it.
Miscreants or morons? I can never remember.
Yeah, either one.
Both.
6 one, half dozen another.
Yeah, both.
I guess your buddy Jimmy there said it. Is that your buddy Jimmy there, Noah?
Yeah. That's he's one of my long-lasting subscribers over on
Right
Twitter.
here. He made a good point. He says, "Don't eat them."
Hey man,
He's
listen.
barbecue.
I never said that human was on the menu, all right? I'm simply implying that.
But you didn't say it was off the menu.
Yeah.
I'm simply implying that.
Aha!
Robbie,
I
are
know
you
how to
taking-
do it.
Are you recording this, Robbie? So we just know for just in case.
Robbie's just over here like, no, I'd never be recording this. What do you
All right.
mean? They're like,
I'm
no,
just
no,
over here.
My body
I'm just
camera is not
collecting-
on.
I'm just collecting evidence. That's all. No big deal. As you work.
My body camera is not on.
That's it. Yeah, we're actually almost 3 hours into it, man.
Wow.
That's nuts.
And we managed to stay mostly on topic.
yeah,
Mostly.
you know.
Until Noah brought up eating humans again.
Hey,
Jesus.
hold on. I didn't bring it up. Hold on, don't you? Hey, man.
I'm busting your balls, man. You know it. I love you. You know that. Oh God.
Oh, damn it, Noah. Stop talking about eating people again. Damn it.
Damn
Bobby.
it, Noah, stop eating people.
Oh, that was a good one. That was a
Scared
good one.
ladybird.
I don't care if you're throwing baby rays on there. It's scaring Ladybird.
Just
I
like
gotta
a
have
bird.
some sweet baby rays now.
Whoa, Soylent Green is people.
That's why. Hey, we gotta have Robbie. We gotta have him on the movie channel with us. He does all those imitations.
That's right. Need to throw some mustard
And
on it.
Doc, see, there you go. He's doing swing
Well,
games.
I said we gotta have Doc on it.
Long as you cook them folks slow smoke them about 18 hours and you throw some mustard on them. They're pretty good with some
That's
fresh fried potatoes and some sweet tea.
Haters over there. Mhm.
Oh man. Nuts.
Oh,
You
man.
guys, gonna be the death of me, every one of you.
Jimmy said Soylent Jimmy. It's an option. I think if we titled it Soylent Jimmy, people would understand that it's people pretty well out the gates.
Actually, they have that movie. Did you see that movie that came out? Those people go to the island for that restaurant, and
Yeah.
people come up missing, and they're cooking them, and they're putting them on the menu. It's screwed. It's messed up, man.
No, I haven't seen that
I
one.
know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's messed
mean,
up.
Listen, man, that sounds like a pretty decent movie concept.
And
My
the
wife-
head
Jimmy
chef
says
is
if I
in-
die before all of y'all, it's in circumstances that don't make eating my body horribly unhealthy for you. You may barbecue my remains.
right. And the
I
head
always
chef
said
in the
that when I
movie,
die, I tell
his
my boys
name-
all the time that when I die, I want them to give me a Viking funeral, burn me with my possessions on a ship, Viking style. Bonus points if they don't ask the owner of the boat first.
oh, there you go.
See, when I die, I want my remains spread out all over Springfield, but I don't want to be cremated.
Well, that's a little bit hard to do because
We'll just run you across one of those deli meat slicers.
yeah.
I was thinking either that or like you fly a Cessna over the town with a wood chipper attached.
We'll serve you up for Christmas dinner.
And we are in a nosedive straight for the belly of hell right now.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know,
At least
at
we'll
this-
be in good company.
I was about to say, I'm just trying to find a good spot to spectate from.
Like that song by what's that name? That,
AC/DC. Highway to Hell.
no, not Highway to Hell. I'm trying to think of the name. Is
That was
God
appropriate though.
I will grab it here in just a second.
Jeffrey Dahmer funeral.
I've seen that. Yeah.
The band's called the Dead South. They play kind of bluegrass style
Oh
music.
yeah, yeah.
I've heard
Song's
of it.
called
Yeah,
Hell
they're
I'll
good.
Be in Good Company.
Oh yeah. Me and my brothers love that song, man.
I
Yeah,
love
I've
that
heard that.
band.
I watched. Did you guys watch that documentary on that TV special they made? That one, I think it was on cable. The Dahmer. Did you see
Oh,
that?
yeah.
Oh no.
I haven't
That's what
watched
this
it, but I
was
know what
about.
I'm talking about. It's
That
on,
was
on
pictures.
Netflix.
yeah, that was messed up. I was like, damn.
I mean, yeah, Jeffrey Dahmer was a messed up dude.
All the information you don't know about, they finally came out with in the movie. It was like, whoa.
Well, it's like the docuseries that I watched when I was in high school. We actually watched it as part of one of my classes. It was it's talking about Robert Durst, the alleged serial killer at the time, but after the after the freaking docuseries launched, they proved that he was the murderer.
Yeah, it was messed up. It just crazy people out there, man. There's just not, what's walking around.
Strange world we live in.
The documentary team left his mic on him when he went to the bathroom at one point.
Right.
And he didn't click the mic off and like admitted to it to himself in the mirror in the
Really?
bathroom on a hot mic.
That's a moron.
And they're like, wait, what?
Yeah, that's crazy.
They're like, the did he just say?
Yeah. And we're in a room with him by ourselves. Yeah, they're like, well,
That's a wrap, folks.
yeah.
Once he steps out of the bathroom, actually, on second thought, we don't need that mic back. Let's
Right.
you know.
Him
Like, oh,
walking
wait a
out-
minute,
yeah.
I'm going to sneeze. Call 911.
I could see he walks out of the bathroom. He's like, where'd everybody go? Where's everyone?
It's like a ghost town in that
Yeah.
office. He's like, what the? Where is everyone?
Why do I hear
Where did it go?
sirens in the background?
Yeah, it's nuts, man.
Did I just hear a radio? What was that? Breaching! Oh God!
He's like, boop, dive.
Well, what do you want to do? We're almost going on 3 hours, DA.
Here's the police
Whoa.
siren and flushes himself down the toilet.
I think we're heading down the silliness hole, so
Yep.
we've lost all serious credibility at this point.
Yeah, we have.
Wait, we
Hey,
have
well,
serious
what's wrong
credibility?
with a little silliness? I've been known to get a little silly sometimes. All right, boy.
I'm looking at the comments. Let me see. Family
Or-
member.
Everybody's just in here
Native
for-
women are missing at a phenomenal number. No one seems to care. He's absolutely correct.
Well, it's a
there's
lot to do with.
highway in Canada they call the Highway of Tears.
Well, no,
Over
the human
the last
trafficking too.
Several decades, dozens of Native American women have gone missing.
They're actually saying a lot of human trafficking too. So that's a big rise. We know
Yeah.
that. So you never know. Never know what is going on anymore.
Right. And I think we did a show on the Highway of Tears.
Yeah,
a
we
few months
did.
back.
I think we did.
Yeah.
Pork and Bean says Alaska is huge for missing people. Yeah, the Alaskan Triangle over the last 40 years has had like 60,000 people go missing in it.
Mm-hmm.
And some of those you also got to attribute to polar bears, though, because
no, not in southern Alaska.
No.
Oh, okay.
You don't get polar bears in southern Alaska. You do get coastal brown bears and
Brown
grizzlies.
bears.
I mean, you know, bears, I guess, nonetheless.
I mean, hell, they just found what did they find? Those two teenagers that went missing 20 years ago in a car in a lake.
Yeah, but human predators are way more than animal predators.
Yeah, fair.
We are animals, but yeah.
Again, that's why when I say if you're going to go out in the woods, if you're going to go camping, hunting, fishing, backpacking, cryptid hunting, go armed. Take something to protect yourself, because the biggest predators out there ain't always cryptids. You know, there are things out there that can and will eat you. And, you know, you've got bears, mountain lions, you know, wolves, coyotes.
I'm
snakes
sure
that'll
we're going
kill
to
you.
get, I'm sure we're going to get a bunch of shit come May when we start videotaping and put it on the show, because all of us are carrying high-powered rifles and sidearms. We're going to get, going to get some lashback, but it has nothing to do with hunting Bigfoot or Dogman.
No.
It's protect ourselves and protect
Preservation.
You know,
Yeah, I have.
you know,
The NADP, I'm Region 2 Director of the NADP. The North American Dogman Project is a no-kill organization.
right.
My personal philosophy when it comes to Bigfoot or Dogman is the only way I will shoot one is in self-defense or defense of the people I'm with. So we are not planning to go out there and actively hunt one of these things. We are, however, going to be prepared to defend ourselves.
Right.
If
When we go in
they
May,
decide where, you know, meat's back on the menu.
This
When
is
we
a
go in
no-kill
May,
organization too. I don't want to get killed.
I mean, what kind of, I mean, I know Florida has a lot of predators in it, but you guys are like, I've heard that the black bear up by you guys are more aggressive than the Florida black bear.
The Missouri variety of black bears have not really been that aggressive.
How about cougars?
They're seeing them on Ring doorbell cameras in town and stuff. And for the most part, you make yourself, you know, look big and yell and holler, they'll run the other way. I haven't heard that many stories of people actually having. Cougars, on the other hand, are nasty.
You just got to go to any bar in town and you'll find plenty.
Well, you know, not at my age. Cougars should be in their 80s.
That's a good one, Noah. That's more your school, brother. We're older. We've been there, done that. We don't need that anymore. We'll set you up. Don't worry about it.
No. I don't want any of them, man.
Pork and Beans has a good question. He says, now, DA, can it be killed if it's shot? I've heard yes and no. I firmly believe yes. Now, the thing is these are big creatures. Big creatures need denser bone and heavier muscle mass. That's why a lot of times, and this has happened with bears too. If you're shooting at a bear with a small caliber weapon, it's not going to go very deep. There was a guy eaten in, I believe it was Denali, who put 5 rounds from a 38 caliber revolver, and when they found the guy in the bear's stomach, there were 38 caliber revolver slugs embedded in its sternum. So, you know, when these creatures have a denser bone mass and a denser muscle density, it's much more difficult to punch with smaller caliber rounds through the heavy center mass areas. If your life is in danger and your intent is to bring one down, hit the big artery groups, hit the brachial plexus inside the upper arm, hit the big arteries and veins in the legs. What is that? What's the big artery in the leg, Doc?
Femoral.
The femoral, yeah. Hit the femoral. Anything in the pelvic girdle is going to bleed like a bastard.
Yeah, we're going.
Shoot them. Hey, this is Doc's medical speak for you. Shoot them in a ding ding.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't imagine any creature likes to get involuntary orchiectomy right there in the middle of the field.
Yeah,
you're not wrong. We got a super chat from Foxtail. Awesome, thank you so much.
Thanks, Foxtail.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be carrying.
It's going to be bad.
We're going to be carrying.
Jimmy G says, like that story of a hiker getting attacked by a mountain lion and the absolute savage choked it out. Seriously, WTF kind of alpha human is that guy? That's a guy that didn't want to die.
Right.
You know, the problem is unfortunately we've got a lot of people who would curl up in the fetal position and just lay there.
True.
The will to live should never be underestimated.
That's like the picture.
You can survive some insurmountable odds when you don't want to die.
With the proper motivation, you can figure stuff out pretty quick.
And
like the picture of the frog inside the stork's mouth, when the stork's trying to swallow the frog, and the frog's reached out, grabbed hold of it. Never give up.
That's right. Jimmy G says, if you're in the position where you have to shoot one of these creatures in self-defense, please try eating it for science.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know that I want to try Dogman or Bigfoot.
I'll try it.
Well, not high on my list of things to try.
Listen, I mean,
tastes like chicken.
As someone who
says it's called adrenaline. He ain't wrong.
As someone who is in the culinary field, I would like to be the guy who brags. I'm the first guy to ever cook a Dogman. All right, I'm the first guy who ever cooked a Lizardman.
What kind of kid did you raise here, DA? Seriously.
I blame his mother.
And here's something else. Toom says this stuff. He said, talk about accuracy. People may think they hit something, but have missed it or only winged it.
No, he's right.
Your accuracy is going to degrade 40 to 50% under stress.
When you
they taught us in the police academy, Doc, that when you're in a critical incident, when you're exchanging fire, that trained officers who are trained to do that, their accuracy falls to less than 10%.
Yeah, when your adrenaline dumps, man, you guys know that. It just throws you right off.
Yeah. Well, that's why they teach you to monkey paw the magazines. You know, because you have that fine motor function. When your adrenaline dumps, you're not going to be able to do the little motor skills you think you can do under normal circumstances. That's why they trained us to monkey paw those magazines, big movements.
Yeah, that's why we're bringing 458 SOCOMs with us. We're bringing big rounds with us.
That's why I'm bringing a 45 black powder revolver with me.
We're not messing around when we go up there.
If I hit that bastard, I'll know.
I'm gonna have a belt fed.
The what?
I'm gonna have a belt fed.
Doc's not messing around.
I ain't playing around.
What you gonna have?
Rolls up with the 249 and he's like,
well, you got to be extra prepared when you're the size of a crunchy roll.
I'm a tasty snack, man. I'm a tasty snack. So
I mean, the one story.
I'm in a moose boosh.
The one story that Fred from Alaska told was that guy from the cabin. He had a 45-70 lever action, and he shot this thing by his truck, supposedly, and rolled it. He thinks he shot it, 3 times, DA?
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
And it got up and ran. So, did he shoot it or did he wing it?
Or did he hit it in a non-critical area?
Right. I mean, you hitting something with the 45-70, I don't care what it is. I mean, you're going to really put damage to it.
Let's think about this, guys. We die in 3 ways, okay? And any creature that bleeds dies in 3 ways, all right? Mm-hmm. Cardiovascularly, respiratory, or neurologically. What's the quickest way? Neurological.
Right?
Turn off the computer.
That hits
you're gonna shut off the box.
Boom,
shut the box off.
Okay. Respiratorily, they can still last a little bit. Okay. Cardiovascularly, you got about 30 seconds of useful consciousness. How much damage can something do, even if it's got 30 seconds of useful consciousness?
Yeah.
I've seen autopsy photos where dudes, the bottom of their heart, the 2 ventricles have been completely obliterated, but they were still able to lay down accurate fire on the people that were trying to end them.
Yeah.
What about that Marine in Afghanistan that took a shot through through the face or the neck still fought for 6 hours?
The face.
Yeah, took a round through the face.
Yeah.
That Navy SEAL that got shot in the face. He's alive now.
There was another senior chief, Mike O'Day, got shot 27 times.
Yep.
And he still ended the 4 dudes that tried to kill him and walked himself to the medevac bird.
Yep, that's true.
Look at Marcus Luttrell and
right there.
The boys on Operation Red Wing. How much damage did they take falling down those hills and bullet rounds and RPGs and everything?
If it's a it can still be a lethal hit. It can still be lethal. It can still be mortal. It can still be a mortal hit. they're not dead yet.
Mhm.
And until they're dead, and this goes the same for cryptids, these things are apex predators. If they're not dead, what is their instinct to do? To inflict maximum damage on something. So unless you get a critical neurological CNS, hit on something, then it's going to continue to be a threat until
Look
it's
at
not.
those guys. Look at the guys that go out safari hunting. That one video, that guy shot that male lion 3 times, and that thing mauled him to death.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
One of my captains at Greene County, I won't mention him by name, but anybody that is familiar with Greene County Sheriff's Office will know exactly who I'm talking about. When he was a deputy for a neighboring county over in Polk County, he responded to a call and tried to pull a vehicle over that was leaving the scene for an anhydrous ammonia theft, which is people use to make meth. He expected one person in the car, but when they bailed out, there were multiple people. He took, I believe it was 6 rounds to the pelvic girdle and drove himself to the EMTs.
holy shit!
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
they said he was almost bled out.
Yeah, and I mean,
When they got
and people. Let's think about this. People have an average of 5 liters of blood. You can still be in the fight having lost around 40% of your circulating volume. That's about 2 liters of blood.
Mm-hmm.
You can still lose about 2 liters of blood. Now let's look at something that's got many more liters than us. Let's ratio it and scale it to that point. They can lose a lot of blood, and so what might be a fatal hit to us, that's a nuisance hit to them.
Right. Especially if it's from a 223 or 5.56.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's a small hole.
Yeah. So you got, like you said, the muscle density and everything like that. There was a dude that shot a boar. I saw a picture on social media the other day. He shot a boar at 200 yards with a Corlock 308. It had lodged a 1/2 inch into the gristle plate.
Bro, I did it.
You know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
I shot a boar, no lie, with a 308 ballistic tip. I blew its front leg off. It was hanging. That thing got up and ran, and I never found it.
Yep.
Never found it.
Yeah.
I was trying to put it behind the breastplate, and it turned as I squeezed off the round. Yeah. That thing got up and ran. I was like, and it was crazy.
Yeah, we've got to, and the thing is, if you're going to be out armed, if you're armed and going out, and if you're going to be armed while you're out with cryptids, like DA said, it's only a self-defense type of situation, then you need to be adequately armed. Don't expect to have first-rate results with a third-rate ballistic equipment.
No.
Period.
Take the right tool for the job.
Absolutely. 100% every time.
Yeah.
Just because you're prepared to defend yourself doesn't mean you're looking to kill one.
No. It's all about self-preservation. They want to self-preserve just like we do.
We're going to get a lot of shit, though, because it's going to be in the video. So anybody that does see the video, we're not out there hunting cryptids. We're just
don't be shocked if I got something on a single point sling.
Right. We're just protecting ourselves. I mean, if it's me and Robbie going out, and DA and Noah are back at the camp, or Doc are back at the camp on radio, I'm going to be out there protecting Robbie. Have his back. He's going to have mine. But no, we're not going to be out shooting these things with trying to get a body. No. I'd rather be prepared than anything.
Well,
than
number
have my
one,
finger in my ass.
If your intention was to go out and bring one in, the logistics of trying to be the one that brings one in for science is going to be a nightmare.
Of course,
if any government agency gets wind whatsoever, that body's going to disappear, and maybe with it.
And you're going out there for the wrong reason.
Exactly.
Right.
Period. You're going out there for the wrong reason.
If it happens,
my thing is if be it a Bigfoot or a dog man, what if you shot one, you killed it, and you found out these things are far more intelligent than we give them credit for. They're not just a dumb animal.
They're actually
ended a sentient life, like shooting a dolphin.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Doc, I think this question's for you.
You start passing out due to blood loss. Man, that's very subjective. That's the individual. I've seen people lose consciousness in less than 30 seconds. I've seen people lose, estimated blood loss, a liter, liter and a half, 2 liters, and still be in a fight, hour, 2 hours later. But of course, that's after the blood loss has been stopped. It all depends on the individual. It also depends on the level of drop in blood pressure, because blood pressure is what everything's relative to. If your blood pressure drops precipitously, then you can see someone lose consciousness in less than 30 seconds. But it depends on the person. It's entirely subjective. I've seen people lose consciousness with less than 250 cc's of blood loss. But there's people who have stayed in the fight with a liter and a half gone. So it's entirely subjective. So there's no right or wrong answer to that.
Well, I mean,
another thing, if you're going to be in the field, God forbid you take a wound like that. For God's sake, and I'm not just saying this because it's a Dark Angel kit. There's a tourniquet right there.
Yeah.
Don't try to be like on TV shows where somebody whips their belt off and applies a tourniquet with that. That I would do under very dire circumstances if I had literally nothing else.
No other option.
Yeah. Have a tourniquet and know how to use it.
Yep.
Right.
Because an uncontrolled bleed away from 911 services or EMTs, an uncontrolled bleed kill you fast.
Oh yeah.
God forbid, people, if you do die and you're with Noah, I really pray for you.
Let's think about it like this,
man.
folks. You got about 120 seconds of free bleeding before you're in the hurt locker. I'll put it in simple layman's terms like that. You got about 120 seconds of free bleeding, and you've got the rest of your life to figure it out.
Who was that? Was that Chapman, that PJ that fought off that group of Taliban with the SEALs?
That was he was a combat controller. Yeah,
that was Chapman, right? That had the video on.
Yeah, Chapman.
He got shot how many times?
Dude,
Several.
Multiple with big caliber rounds.
Right.
Folks, if you think you can afford the dark kit, and I know it's a bit of a bite to get one at one time. If you think you can't afford a dark kit, get this one. It's called the EDC. Doc can tell you more about it than me.
Yeah, I got it.
It does come with a tourniquet.
I got it. Robbie's got it on his tack vest. This is
Doc, tell us about the EDC kit.
Yeah.
I mean, the EDC has got my top 5 items in there for a trauma kit, for a no crap trauma kit.
Yeah.
It's got a cat or a soft T. It's got a 12-foot roll of hemostatic gauze, quick clot. It's got 2 chest seals. It's got a pressure bandage and a pair of gloves. And so there's your items you need for a traumatic injury like that.
I was gonna get one for the truck because I have that back area.
Yeah.
Those seat covers that I ordered has a tactical package in the back of the driver's seat. So they're made by Carhartt. The seat covers, the heavy canvas. So I ordered them in black. And behind them, they got holster. They got all these things, and this guy had it all loaded up with all medical stuff in the back. I was like, oh, that's a good idea. I got to get on Doc's page and order that truck kit.
Yeah.
Next kit I'm going to order is the headrest kit.
Yeah, the headrest kit, because
that's the one I'm talking about. Yeah, that big kit that you have. Yeah.
It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it, man.
Kind of like a parachute. Exactly. It's better to have it, not need it, than need it, not have it. Because if you ever need it and don't have it, you may never need it again.
That's why I wear a parachute to Walmart. You never know when you're going to need it.
Never can tell, man. Life's crazy.
Yep.
Woo! 3 hours and 7 minutes. Holy crap.
Yeah. What do you want to do, DA? Wrap it?
Yeah, we start wrapping things up. But then again, it's an Ozarks goodnight, so it might be another 30 minutes.
That's true. You never
folks, just to touch on that again, if you're going to go out camping, fishing, hunting, backpacking, cryptid hunting, paranormal investigating, take the basics. Take things that you would need to survive. Take a med kit. Take a good med kit and know how to use it. I cannot stress how much my faith I put in Dark Angel kits. Carried one throughout my law enforcement career. I would not put my life in the hands of any other kit. And that's not just me blowing smoke because Doc's my brother. That is because they are fantastic kits. If Steve were here, Steve could tell you he knew me when I was on duty. I had one of the Dark Angel dark kits, the black kit, on my belt at all times.
He says if Steve was here, as if I wasn't his son for every year he was a cop.
True, but I had that kit on my belt.
And if
I
you
kept
do
one of
go,
those kits on my belt.
right, and if you do go with Noah, take some meat tenderizer with you. So.
Well, oddly enough, meat tenderizer can be used to stop a bleed.
I know.
It's going to burn like a son of a gun,
busting
but
his
it'll
chops.
do it.
I gotta bust Noah's chops. That's all. I love him. So.
Well, you could also bring a skillet with you, just in case I forget to bring mine.
And a good fillet knife.
Yeah. One of
Bring
them.
a good fillet knife.
Oh no, I won't need a knife. I'll take it off of somebody else.
Yo, yeah.
Folks,
By the way, speaking of knives, I was looking at that cutlery set that Scallywag has.
Oh, the kitchen set. I want that set so bad.
That
I
is
just
nice.
can't afford it.
That was almost
That is
a
a
really good
beautiful set of
segue
knives.
into a sponsored advertisement.
There
Speaking
we
of
go.
knives,
Was it?
Scallywag
Speaking of knives,
Tactical.
don't forget
like
to
how
check
I
out the
did
good
that?
folks over at Scallywag Tactical. Use the code DARoberts10 at checkout for 10% off your order. I'm not just advocating their knives because they're an affiliate. I advocate their knives because they are freaking amazing blades. I was putting those knives and like the boarding axe and stuff. I was putting those in my books long before I knew anybody over at Scallywag Tactical. It's because they're that good. And when you're going to go, if you're going to go out again, take a good med kit, take a good blade. A knife is one of the best inventions that mankind has ever made. Go to Scallywag Tactical right now. You can get one of their knives for $12, and like this one, the Orca, just a good quality knife.
Yeah.
Now you can use a basic knife for all kinds of things in a survival situation. You can help it to make get kindling for a fire. You can help it to use it to set up your camp. It can become an eating utensil. There are 1,000,001 uses for a good blade. So get a good blade and keep it on hand. Put things in your kit that are going to be useful. You can go over to Amazon and buy a packet of space blankets. You can get like a half a dozen of them for $5, and they take up no room in your pack. They weigh next to nothing. It's just a sheet of Mylar. And in a survival situation, you can wrap yourself in that sheet of Mylar and stay pretty damn warm. And also, incidentally, it will help
hide you.
It'll help hide you from infrared.
Yeah, it does. Just saying.
Not saying you'd need that or anything.
Just saying.
Just saying.
If somebody in black comes out of a black helicopter, yeah, it does hide you.
Another thing, not a sponsor. This is not a sponsor. Life straw. Buy 2, buy 5. Yeah. Keep one in your vehicle. Keep one in your day pack. Keep one in your emergency kit.
They got them at Walmart.
Life straws. What's that name? I'm sorry, Anthony, go ahead.
They got them at Walmart for $5.
Yeah, the life straws themselves will filter out up to 100,000 gallons of water. You can put one directly in a mud puddle and drink straight out of the straw. Yeah. They make them that will fit into the line of your camelback. Fresh water is an absolute essential if you're in a survival situation. There's the rule of 3: 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food. You've got to keep these rules in mind, and these are things that can and will save your life. Keep a life straw in your pack. Keep a space blanket. Get a damn good med kit and know how to use it. Dark Angel Medical, 25% off Cryptid 25. Get a good blade. Scallywag Tactical, DA Roberts 10% off. And who was that mask pitch man anyway? But these are just basic items, and I could do a whole show just on things you should have on hand in an emergency kit. There's a 1,000,001 things that each have their own uses. Those little fire starter, the little flint rods, those are fantastic to keep in your kit. They don't weigh much. A good compass. I recommend a Lensatic compass, and know how to use it, know how to navigate with it, because GPS will fail. You will get to places where your phone just doesn't get signal, or God forbid, you drop it in the water, or you break it, or your battery goes dead. Suddenly, that cell phone that you were using to map your way in and out of your hiking area is no use to you. Have a plan. have a backup to the plan. Take your basic survival equipment, and above all, be safe and come back home. You have the right to come back home alive. Tell somebody where you're going and when you plan to be back. Somebody that's not going with you. Somebody that will know when you're overdue and where to start looking for you. These little things that just seem insignificant can become tremendously important under the right set of circumstances. You get 5-6 miles back on a trail and twist your ankle, you might die.
Yep.
Especially if there's nobody there to carry you out. Coyotes have killed people that have become unable to walk or want to get themselves out. Coyotes are generally not very brave, but if you're down and can't defend yourself, yeah, they'll get pretty brave pretty fast.
Yeah, and talking about compasses, DA, lensatic compasses, there's a company called Suunto, Suunto. You can find them on Amazon. They make a very affordable lensatic compass, and they make wrist compasses, wristwatch compasses, things like that. But Suunto, Suunto, they make a great compass system. If you want to go the GI issue route, just get your general your issue GI tritium lensatic compass. I've still got a couple of mine from the military.
I think I've got mine floating around here somewhere.
Yeah, guess what, man? They still work, but you got to know how to land nav. You got to know how to orienteer. So look at your maps. Make sure they're the same topographical scale. Learn how to use your protractor, because if GPS takes a crap on you, if you're in triple canopy forest, you need to have a backup to your backup. And so learn how to use those maps. Orienteering is huge. Land nav is one of the biggest things that fails most of your special forces candidates.
Yeah, they do. My son washed out. Well, he failed it. Going back, they give you 2 tries.
Yeah, land nav will I mean, Murphy will stick in you and break it off. And so land nav, if you got to learn how to land nav and read a map and read a compass and learn how to use your protractor and make sure you're on the right grid reference system. So
because technology can and will fail you at the worst possible time.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. He goes back in a couple of months. My sister's in contact with him.
Good.
And he's going to be I guess they start you up right where you failed, Doc. Is that true?
Is he going to SFAS up at Camp McCall up at Bragg?
Yeah, he's going to Bragg. Well, he's got his Ranger tab already.
But if he's going to Special Forces assessment, he's going to be going to Camp McCall. He's starting all over again. 24 days.
All right.
24 days. Yeah, so good luck to him, brother.
Yeah. Absolutely. And folks, those are just basic tips. Again, yeah, John Allen says, just ask Clark about navigation. Yeah, Daniel Clark in my books is old school. He double checks everything with that lensatic compass.
Yeah.
And that's not just there by accident. That was me making a very deliberate nod at not discounting old school map technology. Yeah, we've got. Yeah, we could seriously, between the group of us here, we could do an entire show on just basics to carry in your bug out bag or your everyday carry bag or your field bag. Yeah, there's a lot of things that you should have in your basic, overnight bag or your basic day pack, because it doesn't take a whole lot to turn a day pack into a multi-day ordeal if you get off trail. And it's great to think search and rescue will find you, but sometimes, what was it we said in law enforcement? Sometimes there's justice and sometimes there's just us.
It's true. Paul had a question. Can you get the Scallywag tactical knives in the UK?
I just answered him. Probably not, unfortunately, man.
Yeah, I don't know about the local laws on that.
UK laws are very, very strict when it comes to
very strict
edge stuff. They gave me shit at Heathrow about my trauma shears.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, lopping fingers off with some trauma shears?
There's so many rampant trauma shearings going around there, but yeah.
Well, I know, just to get a shotgun over there for hunting, it's like a 2-year process just for the paperwork. It's ridiculous.
are longer. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nuts.
In Edinburgh, when I flew directly into Edinburgh, they didn't give me problems about the trauma shears, but fixed blade knives, folding blade knives, I believe there's a length requirement. It has to be under a certain amount of like 1.5 inches, 2 inches, something like that. And you have to have a reason for carrying it.
But you know what's crazy? And I don't mean to get off subject. You know what's nuts to me? This is how crazy it is. Here in the United States, you have to have a tax stamp and an NFA item to own a silencer.
Right.
In Europe, you can
Suppressor.
walk into a store and buy one right over the counter and put
Yeah.
it on your bolt action for hunting.
Yeah.
Because it's called a noise ordinance act, to where they want to do it here, but it
Well-
won't bother farmers, cows, and other animals when you're hunting.
Yeah. It's considered polite.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes no sense to me, man. But
Right.
I wasn't meaning to get off subject.
No, but you're exactly right. So Paul, just check with Scallywag, like has been said on here, and I don't think, and check with your local ordinances and the UK laws, health and safety, all those guys. I don't think you're gonna have much luck getting a Scallywag over there legally.
Unless somebody
Oh.
slips it in a pastry.
Yeah.
a twisted pastry or
Yeah,
something.
exactly.
I don't
Right.
know.
While we're wrapping things up, Robbie, plug your channel, will you, buddy?
What's really out there? We get into a little bit of everything: paranormal, cryptid, UFO, just about anything. Got 4 shows coming up. We've got one coming up on the Wampus Cat, which is pretty interesting. Got an episode on the different types of Bigfoot, which D was kind enough to supply us with a very extensive list of all the different types of Bigfoot. We go into in depth about that. We've got an episode on the Men in Black. What else? That's the 3 that I can remember right off. But they'll be coming out periodically over the next couple of weeks. Norm and I, and along with Johnny Sanchez, a friend of ours, we do some of the local stuff from the upstate, and just whatever we can get into.
And that's on Spotify.
It's on Spotify, Spreaker, iHeartRadio. I think we've got enough episodes now where we can start going to iTunes. Got to
cool.
check into that. You had to have a certain number of episodes before they'll look at you, and I think we've got that number now. So
Awesome.
got to check on that.
Congrats, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah, I listened. I was listening to the podcast on my way down in the new truck, man, on Spotify. I popped it on. I was like, oh, cool. I got Robbie on. I'm cruising down the highway going to Tampa. I'm like, nice.
Hell yeah.
I put our show on, and I had Steve Lilly on. I was going back and forth listening to all the. I was like, man, this is badass. Yeah.
Noah, go ahead and tell us about your channel and where to find it too.
So, as you guys know me, I'm Noah. I'm also known as Jorgamunder. I'm over on Twitch, twitch.tv/Jorgamunder, but I'm also on YouTube now. We're actually kind of starting to make a little bit of a push, getting YouTube content out. So if you guys like gaming content and just like chill out, have a good time, laugh at a few things, be idiots, that's kind of our area of expertise. So I would love to see you guys
here.
Yeah. It's just a bit more informal, over where I'm at. We don't have a topic. We just kind of around,
Right.
So over on Twitch, I've been playing a lot of the new Warhammer 40K game. It's called Dark Tide. It's a whole lot of fun. I absolutely love that game. But we also just kind of hang out and chat every once in a while and just kind of goof off, all that good stuff. So I'd love to see a lot of you guys come over to the Twitch. I'd love to see you guys on the YouTube. We should be releasing 3 videos every week, 2 shorts, 1 full length. So
Yeah. Cool.
and I'll say hi in the chat on my YouTube account because we don't have the YouTube link prepared.
So you're actually you're branching over to YouTube now even more?
Yeah, we're starting to actually upload multiple videos a week over on the YouTube.
Good. All right,
We've
cool. I'll
just
check
made
out.
it to 216 subscribers.
Are you on- I can look it up right now. Can I find you now if I go on there or no?
Yeah. Am I permitted to post links in the chat, or do you want me to post in the private chat?
But I am posting the link right now. That's the
cool.
YouTube link.
There's the YouTube. There's the Twitch. Like I said, we do a lot of gaming content and just hanging out and shitting on each other and all that good stuff.
Cool.
So, you know, I'd love to see a lot of you guys come by. My editor, he would love to hear you guys' feedback on the videos and whatnot. So thank you guys. And thank you for having me on here.
Well, you know, we always enjoy having you, bud.
Plus, you're his son. How can we deny that? I mean, seriously.
No, I mean, you know,
tell you to get the hell off. No, we don't want him on.
We don't want you. No.
Where did you find that kid?
When we met Josh and Ochio, he kept calling me the mini version of Dad. So I mean, like, you know,
that's my mini me.
He was like, yeah, it's just like having two of your dad. And I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, we got to get him back on the show. He was cool. He was a cool guy.
Oh, he's a riot. I love that guy.
Uncle John says Anthony loves his new truck more than his girlfriend.
Man, I'm just excited, man. I was long overdue.
Hell yeah, I'm happy for you, brother.
Long overdue, man. Huh?
It's a nice truck, dude.
Thank you. Hell yeah, long overdue, man. I'm just, I treat it, I mean, I'm not even going to get into it, but yeah, that's my new toy. So
good for you. It's awesome.
Well, folks, we appreciate you guys joining us here on DAX Machina. We're proud to have each and every one of you as part of the DAX Machina Nation. Hope you guys will check out my books if you're not familiar with them. You can find all of my books over at daroberts.net or on Amazon or where good books are sold. I've got 27 titles currently in print. A lot of those are cryptid related. Check out my titles such as the Codename Wild Hunt series, the Lakeview Man series, the Apex Predator series, the Nightmare Hunter series, the Ragnarok Rising saga, the Lost Legion series, and most recently the Man's Marauders series. So I've got multiple series out. They're ongoing series. I'm going to continue to put those out. And for those of you who are members of the Patreon community over at patreon.com/DARobertsAuthor, hope you guys will check that out. You can help shape the future of the DA-verse. They're already aware of this, but I told them this over a week ago. There's also a new series in the work that's going to be called Dark Frontier. It's about a former Civil War soldier who turns gunfighter and winds up hunting cryptids in post-Civil War West. So I've always wanted to try my hand at a Western, and now this one's going to be a Western with cryptids.
Nice.
So that's going to be a project coming up very soon. So again, appreciate it. Oh, Tombstone. Hey, brother, thank you for the super chat. You're awesome. See, missing any more comments? Just there, here and there, 66. Even a Steve Lilly story.
Yes.
If you guys are familiar with my Apex Predator series, you'll know the Apex Predator. It's always Apex Predator something moon, like Wolf Moon or Blood Moon. I'm working on a short story. It's probably going to be around 22,000 words.
Cheese Moon.
It's just kind of a novella. No, it's going to be called Apex Predator Lily Moon.
I was really hoping for Cheese Moon.
Yeah,
no Cheese Moon yet.
Episode 6 is on. He just put it on tonight. The Steve Lilly podcast. So that's what I'm going to be watching right after I get off, listening to it.
Yeah. So again, folks, we still at 3 hours and 27 minutes. We got over 100 people watching. Guys, you guys are the best. We love spending time with you guys. Thank you guys so much for spending this Wednesday evening with us. We'll be back with you guys on Saturday night. I have not yet announced the topic yet. It will be soon. But we've got a lot of good content coming up. We got some interesting shows coming up after the first of the year. I think you guys are going to like it. We're going to be doing an international Dogman show, bringing people in from both Australia and England to join us here in the studio to talk about Dogman experiences around the world. So we hope you guys join us for that. Again, we've got a lot of good content coming up in the near future. Look for a lot more shows like this. We're going to have some great people to interview, and we're going to have a hell of a good time doing it. As the old joke says, if you can't be useful, at least be entertaining. So we're trying to do both. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys had a good chuckle with us tonight. We did manage to stay, for the most part, on something of a topic. But again, we had a good time doing it. Check out our sponsors that are affiliates here at the show. Check out Scallywag Tactical, Dark Angel Medical. Scallywag discount code is DA Roberts 10 for 10% off your order. And with Dark Angel Medical, it's Cryptid 25 for 25% off your order. Both veteran-owned companies. And if you guys know me very well at all, you've heard me talk about it before. I'm a strong proponent of supporting our veterans. A big supporter of the Valhalla project, the 22 a day project. If you guys aren't familiar with those, the 22 a day project and the Valhalla project both sponsor veterans charities to help with PTSD and help eliminate the 22 a day veteran suicide. 22 veterans a day on average take their life due to stress left over from PTSD and from things that they've seen during service. So I'm a huge proponent of supporting our veterans. And let's get that 22 day down to 0 a day, shall we? I think it's possible, and we can. It's not an unattainable goal. So again, those are causes that are near and dear to my heart. I'm a big supporter of veterans and veteran-owned companies. So give those folks some love. Tell them we sent you. And again, I appreciate each and every one of you guys spending time with us. I've said it many times. I'll say it again. We don't have fans. We have friends. So welcome to the DAX Machina Nation. We consider you guys family, and we can't wait to hang out with you guys again on Saturday night. For the good Lord's willing, and the creeks don't rise, as the old saying goes. So good night, everybody.
Good night.
Night, y'all.
Hope each and every one of you have a wonderful week and a wonderful weekend, and we will see you guys on Saturday night. Good night, and bless each and every one of you. Thank you so much. Good night.
Thank you for joining us. Catch us again Wednesdays and Saturdays on DAX Machina. A special thanks to all our channel members and Patreon supporters. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe.